That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Sometimes I just don't know. Sometimes even I, as wordy as I am, don't know what to say. It's so Notre Dame-y that I don't know how else to say it. The situations we find ourselves in routinely feel like they're exclusively Notre Dame-y, and therefore come with not just like an initial happening, but then these threads and strands of drama that like attach and weave together, and then one little thing snowballs into one bigger thing. It's just always something here, and it's always something that's like, it can't just be and then it goes away. Everything that happens here grows into something else. Like just, oh, Buckner's thinking of entering the portal. That on its own is its own lane. And then you add the Alabama thread to it and just pour that gasoline on the fire, baby. Like, it's just wild. It's wild, and there is a lot of angles to break down here. So it's gonna be an interesting one, I think, because there are so many threads to this, and there's short picture, there's big picture, there's the quarterback dynamic at Notre Dame next year, there's the quarterback dynamic after next year, all of that. This is gonna be interesting. So thanks for being here. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to break some of this down. I appreciate you being here. Obviously, if you're here, hit subscribe. Why not? Thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on. That way you're alerted every time a new episode drops, like yesterday when I was dropping news all day. You never know what's going to pop up in Notre Dame land. You got to be alert. So that's what the notifications are for. So that if something happens and you're not following the internets, you'll get notified right away. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishmd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want me. You can get me. Call-in line, 312-900-8815. Tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. I'm afraid to ask. I'll be honest, I'm afraid to ask sometimes. Fighting Irish while you're typing in the Google machine. Read all about Notre Dame football from articles. Yeah, I know. I can read and write. Read it. I'll type it up. You're used to me yelling. I can do the other way too. Oh, my brother's here. Good to see him. He probably wants to see the fallout. Oh, my God. All right. So here's what we're going to have to do. I know people are going to want to call. I'm going to go through some of the chats and we'll see where this goes. So here's a couple things I want to know from you guys in the chat and the calls. Number one is, what do you think of this decision by Tyler Buchner to unless I missed anything, no decisions have been made this morning. I want to know genuinely what you think of his decision to enter the portal. I totally understand all sides of it. All sides of it. The Notre Dame fan side, how Buckner must be feeling, the position this puts Freeman in, the pressure now on Hartman to stay healthy and be good. What happens the year after? There's all this. What happens if this guy ends up at Alabama? What? All right. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I swear to you guys, I'm not trying to be mean. But if the idea of Buckner leaving is because he wants to play, are you guys telling me that if he joins Tommy Boy down at Alabama, he's the starter next year? I'm trying to understand this. That's the part of this I don't get. So otherwise, is he leaving to join Tommy to be a backup when he would be a backup here and then be in a really good position lined up for the next year to fight for that job? Like, that's my question. If he goes to Alabama, is he going to start or is he going to be a backup just like he was here, which tells me there might be more going on and whatever. So I don't know what to make of it, but I see all the angles. I see all the angles. And it's like, as a Notre Dame fan, you want it all, but are we entitled to have it all? And what I mean by that is everybody saw the blue and gold game, feels really good about Hartman claiming that number one spot. And then we felt really comfortable having Buckner as the number 2 backup. That is a very strong backup. Buckner as a backup is really strong. That's about as much as you could ask for a backup, really, for Notre Dame especially. So I get that we want it all, and we want that Hartman Buckner. Why do we get it all? Like, why do we get it all? Like, we're saying we love you, Buckner, but not enough to be the number 1 guy, but we love you as our number 2? Who are we to get that? Like, I've been thinking about that early this morning. We want it all. I want Hartman to be my number 1 guy. I want Hartman to be the backup, or Buckner to be the backup. And Buckner's position is screw you guys. I don't have to do that. I've already had all this bad luck and bad injury and more bad luck and bad timing and bad injury and bad luck. The Stairs beat me up last year. So who are we to say we get it all, right? Like, I don't know, but that's what we want. And then at the same time, see, there's 2 sides to this that are both fair on the Notre Dame angle. We want it all. I love what I saw from Hartman, but I'll feel real good with Buckner as the backup. And then I'm saying he could leave if he wants. Who am I to want him as my number 2? Not my number 1. I'm in love with you. Number 2, I kind of like you. But also I understand the argument of why is Notre Dame always 1 injury away from an absolute nightmare disaster at quarterback? Both of those I see being fair and true at the same time. I want the comfort of having a 1 and 2 guy I feel pretty good about. And at the same time, I can't blame the guy for being like, I want to go play. But the Alabama thing's so interesting. I just don't get it. I understand there's comfort with Tommy. But if you're telling me he's going down there and what's he going to be? Alabama's starting quarterback next year? Okay. Oh my God. Like that can't be the dynamic. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, he wouldn't be starting at Alabama. So then he's a backup anyways. So is that just to get out of Notre Dame because it's been too much? And I wouldn't blame him for that. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's Freeman or anybody else's fault. The way the circumstances are happening, Buckner's had nothing but bad luck, bad timing, more bad luck, more bad timing all along the way since the end of high school. COVID year, injury, sitting to cone, sitting to cone, then you're healthy, then you're not healthy, and then now this. It's just a lot. It's a lot. So here, I'm going to do my main points, and then we're going to get to you guys. So I want to kind of get out of the way on this. I did my thing yesterday. I'm going to get through a couple notes, get out of the way, get to the chats, and a bunch of people want to call today. So here's the first thing. If Buckner leaves, Notre Dame's exposed again next year. If Hartman gets hurt and you're without Buckner as the backup, and it's either Angeli or Minchie, you're in big trouble again, just like you were last year. Now, I think the second guy behind Hartman would be maybe better than Pine, maybe. But you're still in that dynamic where now if Hartman gets hurt, loses a fight with Buckner's staircase, or gets hit by a car or a regular foot, not CJ, that's different. He's a part of this too. If he gets hit by a car, it's last year all over again. It's last year all over again is where this trajectory is headed. And so that's the exposure Notre Dame faces now. If Hartman gets hurt and you're without Buckner, this is going down the path of last year. And you saw that struggle bus. So that'd be 2 horrible luck years in a row for Notre Dame at the most important individual position in sports. And you just got to pray to God it doesn't happen and the guy's in bubble wrap every minute. So that would be a nightmare because it's last year all over again. Then there is the next question, a bigger picture question, which is what happens that following year? Angeli versus Minchie versus Carr. That's where Buckner would have been ideal to be in that mix. So that exposes Notre Dame a little bit as well. Even if you make it through this year with Hartman in one piece, the next year gets tricky too. Because then you're with an Angeli a year 2 Minchie, probably off a red shirt, and then Carr coming in as a freshman. And so your hope would be Carr continues to develop physically, keeps growing, gets bigger and stronger, makes all the throws. He comes in, blows everybody away. He's undeniable. And then you're off to the races with the young guy you could build with. There's going to be mistakes, but they're young mistakes you're going to learn from, and the group grows together. So that's the other dynamic there is what's going to happen that next year. Having Buckner in the mix with Angeli, Minchie, Carr next year would have been great. That would have been absolutely fantastic. Buckner still would have been a relatively unknown given all the years he's been here, but the small body of work we've actually seen. Buckner would have still been an unknown, but he would have been the most known of the unknowns. Look at it that way. The most known of the unknowns in that regard. So then that gets tricky as well. So there's a lot of angles to this. I don't have any ill will to Buckner. I just don't. The second Hartman was even rumored to come to Notre Dame, this was out there as a possibility. It should not shock anybody. I get that we all love Notre Dame and everybody loves Notre Dame and that degree and everything. Some of these guys just want to play. If I was Buckner, I would be beyond frustrated with my everything the last 4 or 5 years. Just total frustration. Bad timing, bad luck, bad timing, bad luck. Great kid. That's the most frustrating part. What a fantastic kid. He has all the features you want a Notre Dame player and a quarterback to have. Never stops trying, always says the right thing, respectful, smart, good steward of the university. He does everything. He does everything except for the two things I need. Stay healthy and be elite. That's what's killing me about this. I got everything in this picture from Buckner I want except for two little details. Be elite and be available all the time. It's just so damn frustrating. And it's like, am I a bad guy for saying that? Maybe, but it's still true. He gives you everything you want except for consistently play and being in one piece. And those are kind of important here. So this is just going to be really interesting to see. If he goes to Alabama, I don't know how that goes, where he's the starter. I don't see that happening. And if it does, oh my God, you got Notre Dame and Alabama, and you'll probably get the same result we had here from it. So I would love that, actually. Let's see him start at Alabama with Tommy Boy. Let's see it all in a different color. But I don't think that's going to happen. All right. So those are some of the things I want to know. What do you think of the decision to enter the portal? What do you think about him being open to returning? That's so unique. That's an interesting dynamic. That's a modern dynamic. You have had other guys do that in the modern portal era. And I feel like it used to be in the locker room, oh, you're with us or against us. And if you want to be against us, get the hell out of here. I think that's changing. The business side of this with these players, they understand the business side of this all now way more than they ever did before. I don't think these players hold it against other players trying to go get paid, raise their NFL stock, put good film on tape by playing somewhere. I think these players are modern enough that if he flirts in the portal and it doesn't work out and he comes back, they'll welcome him back. And obviously Freeman must be open to this, or this wouldn't be on the table. And Freeman's open to it because his back's against the wall with the quarterback depth if he leaves. So in a way, Freeman might have wanted to say, if you want to leave, you're out of here. But he knows he needs that guy as the backup, or we're exposed all over again like we were last year. All last summer, I said, the only way this goes good is if Buckner's healthy all year and really good all year. Didn't get either. Like, it's just always the next thing. All right, let's do a couple chats. And I saw some super chats. We're going to get to those. Then we're going to get to the calls and see what you guys think. But I do feel an obligation to get caught up on the chats that happen overnight and then up in the morning. Oh, boy. Cousin Luke, always reliable. If you count the 3 recruits he lost in a 23 cycle, that's 6 top 100 players gone. I mean, I don't think you can. I mean, technically, yes, but a recruiting loss where a guy never even made it to Notre Dame is different than a guy in the program. And also, here's something else. I was thinking about this last night. Some of this feels to me like I'm really starting to see Freeman's vision and some of what Freeman wants to restructure. And some of this is awkward and very hard to navigate, and it's uncomfortable. Some of this you got to understand is a natural transition from one coaching staff to the next, and the guys that are overlap where the two mesh. A lot of times something's got to give there. They don't all have the same vision. Freeman doesn't have the same vision as Kelly. And I'm damn glad, because that one didn't work. So I'm glad Freeman doesn't have the same vision as Kelly. Do it different. That way didn't work. So who am I to say he's got to keep the flow Kelly had? If he wants to move some of these guys in and out, do it. Some of that is natural and should be expected with a new guy and a new vision. So I get it when you're like, oh, man, Kelly, that's unfortunate. It is. It is unfortunate, but Notre Dame's not different. We think of Notre Dame being so different in all these ways. So different, so different. But in some ways, Notre Dame's like other places. Just because it's Notre Dame doesn't mean every kid's happy just to be there. Some guys want more. And who am I to judge that? Notre Dame's different in a lot of ways, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, this is how it goes. Uncomfortable discussions, big decisions that impact a lot. This stuff's tough to navigate, but it's a part of the process. Sometimes Notre Dame people get stuck in this. Every kid that goes to Notre Dame's got to stay there forever. It's like a sin where they did something wrong and betrayed us, or Notre Dame must be a terrible place everybody's looking to bail from. The truth isn't either. There's practicalities in all of this that are uncomfortable sometimes. This dynamic's one of them. So now, whatever happened, if he comes back, he comes back. I just have a hard time thinking he's coming back. If a Power 5 school has a place for Drew Pine, you're telling me there ain't one for Buckner's skill set? Get a grip of life. This is going to be a long day. I got a couple other interviews I'm doing on other shows after this. This is going to be a long day. Let's get it cranked up. $5 holler. $5 holler. Good morning, John the Great. Buckner leaving, possibly headed to Alabama. Strange. Oh, it's strange. The dynamics at ND are just bizarre. 100% bizarre. Always been. Look at this. Paul Conley. John, since I've been following your show, my anxiety has been reduced. Thanks to your show, you give me an outlet. Well, I'm good. Yours is reduced because mine's increased. Every time I do one of these, somebody else brings up something else for me to worry about that even I didn't think about. So I think I'm catching all the loose anxiety here. I'm knocking off everybody else or something. Unbelievable. Man, Andrew Gilmore. I know a lot of people are Buckner supporters, but can we acknowledge how bad Reese is looking at Bama? Replacing Bryce Young with Buckner, ridiculous if true. Simpson, a true 5-star. Revolt coming. I don't know what to make of it, but I don't see a dynamic where Buckner's starting for Alabama next year. And if he does, I think there's going to be, I don't know how that's going to go. That's all I'm going to say. And it would be really, really interesting to see the Alabama fans go through some of the offensive stresses Notre Dame fans have with an up and down quarterback and Reese. I would get some enjoyment out of that. Just hope they figure out what they want to do when they play Swamp Thing. Other than that, I have no interest in Alabama winning a game other than beat him 50-0. Luke, no reports saying Freeman's losing the locker room. I read all the boards. You're referring to Goolsby, who's a blind Buckner supporter. Styles appears to have an attitude. All of these situations are nuanced and individual in nature and have their own dynamics. It is a lazy shortcut to just say, Oh, a handful of these guys left. Freeman's losing the locker room. There's a lot more that goes into this than that. It isn't that simple, and I'm not going to let people dumb it down that much. Each of these dynamics involve unique circumstances and interpersonal stuff that we're not all privy to. But what do you want me to do? I wanted Collie to be good too. I wanted Styles to be good too. But you know what I'm getting mad about with the Styles thing, with people complaining about him leaving and everything's falling apart? That is not a guy that could say, I'm not getting a fair shake here. He had a fair shake last year and couldn't catch the ball. That's on you, buddy. That's the one I have a problem with. Oh, Styles leaving, it's falling apart. It's not like he could say, I didn't get a chance to play and I want to go play. He had a chance to play and was a head case and couldn't catch the ball. He had a chance. Last year, they needed that guy to emerge and be a star, and he couldn't catch a pass. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Oh, Freeman, not giving opportunities. What did you want? We needed that guy to emerge last year, and he didn't. He had all the opportunities in the world. And I know, here's the other thing. The Goolsby stuff, I'm sweating already. God. The Goolsby stuff, I have heard he's a big Buckner guy. Everybody asks me, did you see what this guy said on this show? And did you see what that guy? I'm busy enough up doing my own writing and my own show. I don't have time to watch these other guys. So I haven't seen it, but I've heard all along Goolsby was a big Buckner guy, and I'm sure he has his reasons, and that's fine. What do I know? He was a captain linebacker at Notre Dame. What do I know? I don't know. I'm just giving you my thoughts. So I see a lot of that with Goolsby today. Somebody's talking about fighting him. See how that goes. See how that goes. Domer 88. It is what it is. We live in the portal NIL era. Hang with me, callers. We're getting to you, but I owe these people that chatted their time. Attrition is inevitable. I understand Buckner, but I would think Collie and Styles would both have been contributors this year. What's their reasoning? I mean, I think Styles might be looking over his shoulder and know some of those young guys, if they haven't already passed him, they're going to pass him. And that was the reason he made an emergency pivot effort to defense when he realized that writing was on the wall. I don't know that for a fact. Looking at the evidence, that's 100% logical to me with Styles, that he was looking around and worried these younger guys are going to emerge, and then maybe I could play defense, find the field. But it all got frustrating or whatever. He got jaded. I don't know. I could see that being the case. Hell, Collie might just figure he deserves to start over a guy starting. I don't know. The party isn't at ND, bro. I don't go there for the party. Well, I did last week. Just kidding. I did last week. But I mean, these players aren't going there I did. Pat did. Rudy did. But I didn't go there for a party, or the players don't go there for a party. They know they're not going there for a party when you play football at Notre Dame. You're on a football mission, man. You're not moving to South Bend to party. You're moving to put in work for a bunch of years and then party after. Man, rough stuff. Mikey Poles, good morning, John. I desperately hope Buckner takes Mike Goolsby with him wherever he ends up. Total bozo, disgrace to the ND fandom. What did Goolsby say? Everybody's talking about it. What did he say? That the program's over? I don't understand. I know he's a Buckner loyalist. But here's the part I don't get. I got to draw a line with some of this stuff. And the line I draw is, if I had an established, known, high-level, elite, anything, coach, assistant coach, player, quarterback, receiver, whatever, and then they leave Notre Dame, I am upset. I am very, very upset about that, okay? But in the case of Reese and in the case of Buckner, I have not seen elite out of any of them at Notre Dame. At Notre Dame. I'm not talking about potential. At Notre Dame. From Reese and from Buckner. I never saw anything close to elite from either of those guys in my estimation. There is a limit to how many tears I could pour out over guys leaving that didn't produce elite results here. That is different than Notre Dame as a young receiver that goes wild his freshman year and it's trending up and he's already great. And then he goes to Alabama to win a title. That upsets me. There is a limit to how many tears I could cry when guys that weren't elite here leave. How upset do I got to be about that exactly? I said it when Reese left. I have a limited amount of tears to cry over what might be that never was here. Maybe that's just a philosophical thing. I don't know. Man. Jeez. ND insiders have such brain rot. If you weren't born an ND fan, only rooted for ND and picked ND from the start, then they don't want you. God forbid we get with the times. I mean, that's a part of this too. These guys move. They're not trapped in your program. You got to realize that. It's tough. It's tough. And I will admit, this is one reason it is going to be hard for every team in the country to have stacked quarterback depth that's good, because you're going to end up with a lot of number 2 guys that lose the number 1 job and they think they should have got it, and then they're going to go play somewhere right away. That just never used to be allowed before. And now that is a dynamic that all these coaches have to balance and navigate. I think the times having those top 1-2 guys be really elite regularly are going away, unless you're maybe at the top few schools where you could argue it might be worth it waiting a couple years at Georgia or something to get your shot, or USC, the way they're building things, and then it'll be good. You can maybe argue that reason for waiting, but like at that level, I don't know. It's rough. These guys are not going to sit around riding the bench. Oh, Adam, good morning. Never a dull moment. That's for sure. A lot. There's just a lot going on. All right. Where are my super chats? Let's see what we got. Freeman Factor 574. Hartman and Jelly Minchie's definitely better than Buckner plus those backups. Freeman doing what it takes to improve ND. Only a clown would equate losing Buckner to the locker room disarray. I'm not buying that it's locker room disarray. Hartman starts throwing the ball all over next year and it looks good. You're telling me it's going to be disarray in the locker room? No damn way. No way. So, yeah. Hartman and Jelly Minchie is, but the problem is when you're telling me Hartman and Jelly Minchie's infinitely better than Buckner plus those back, it's just rough because that's all weighted towards Hartman on the top end and then drops off a lot more instead of Hartman and then Buckner with a smaller drop off. Like, I'm not saying Buckner's near elite. He's a lot further along than Angeli is, and Minchie probably is right now. That's my point. Andrew, good to see you here. My brother's here. $5 holler from Patrick. This should be fun. Yeah, it's going to be one of those days, Pat. $2 holler from Steven. Minchie's time. Get ready. We'll see. Bob Kelly. Good morning, John. Again, Pennsylvania welcomes you. It'd be cool to see Buckner go to Alabama and run over LSU in the swampland. I have to also say all that matters is beating USC. Let's go, baby. Yeah, we got to beat. I'm not even worried about that today. Oh, man. This is amazing to me. I'd imagine if Buckner goes to Bama, they tell him he's the starter or in good position to start. Oh, boy. Alabama is must-watch TV if that's how this is going to go. I will watch every one of those games supremely interested. And I would really love to see the Alabama faithful get a juicy taste of what Notre Dame offenses looked like and felt like. Unbelievable. I do know they struggled in the spring game. Nobody was happy with their quarterbacks. That's for sure. $10 holler. We're almost done with the chats. The the bank is full. No more space for mediocrity in the QB room. Weirdos on the internet like Foolsby, simping for him like he's their handicapped little brother. Get over it. He isn't good enough. Demand the best. Maybe I need to do my research into Goolsby or invite him on the program to go over why he feels so strongly about this and to go into what he sees in Buckner that maybe all of us haven't seen, or maybe he's a former player. Maybe he has information on the inside that I just don't know about. But there is a limit to how much I'm going to cry over unrecognized potential. I'm sorry. $2 holler. Mike, I got you. I see you here. I'm glad to have you call. It's been a while. Been a while. So I don't know, man. A lot of people are going after Goolsby. I don't know. Maybe he's just a Hartman guy. Nobody likes it. He's a Hartman guy and nobody likes it. Look at this. 12-12, just one ND gal. I'll say this. When Tyler wrote, I love Notre Dame, I completely believed him. The whole situation is just sad making. Here's the thing. That's it. Tyler Buckner's lovely. Tyler Buckner's absolutely lovely. He provides me every single thing I want out of a Notre Dame quarterback, other than those two little details, being elite and being healthy all the time and ready to play. Other than that, I got everything I need from the guy. Everything I need. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. It's amazing. These are Notre Dame situations, folks. We find ourselves in all the time. Oh, man. So I don't know what you do about this. It's just a rocky situation. All right. We're going to go back to the chats in a little bit, but I got a lot of people who want to call. Pat, I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you got work or not, but I got a full phone bank of people that aren't regular callers that I want to give some time to. So let me know what your deal is. First up, waiting the longest, Dr. John, what's going on?
Oh, man.
Yep.
I'm about ready to take a break from all this.
It's a lot, John, and it never ends. It never ends, my friend. It's always something here, and it's always something complicated. What is your immediate reaction to this? How do you feel about Buckner's decision, and where do you think this leaves Notre Dame in the short and long term in regards to the quarterback spot?
Well, my big concern in this whole thing is Marcus Freeman. I wish I knew how he felt and how he's doing, because I think that's the most critical thing in all of this. What is he saying to these guys, and how is he evaluating this situation? I don't know. I guess this was kind of predicted when they were going after Hartman.
Yep.
A kid like Buckner, who hasn't had a chance because of all that bad luck that you refer to, he hasn't had a chance to really show himself at all. And you have to respect the coach's decision too. Is like, well, we got a fragile guy here. We need some insurance, but there are always consequences to no matter what action you take.
Yeah,
but
there is.
I'm just concerned about what Marcus's mental condition is right now. I mean, this is a lot of heavy stuff for a coach.
It is
to handle,
especially early
in his second year.
Now, let me answer that. I think I have an answer for that. I feel like what I've learned about Marcus Freeman, the way he operates and his personality and the way he delivers messaging, so careful. I'm very confident that Marcus Freeman's trying to handle this as respectfully as possible, trying to be respectful of Notre Dame and protecting our operation and what we need to do, while trying to be fair to these guys and make sure they're in a good spot. Some of this is uncomfortable, and there's no way to avoid it. At some point, when you have this meshing of these two different eras, something's got to give, and there's going to be some of this uncomfortable discussions and players coming and going and guys from the last regime and the new one. And is there a good fit? Some of this is natural. We just extra don't like it at Notre Dame. It just feels not Notre Dame-y to us, but it's football.
You're right. It's football, but the problem is we've got this thing in our hearts that doesn't let us look at it as just football.
Yeah, it's
know?
personal. It like
It's,
hurts, John. It hurts when
yeah.
it genuinely hurts when we all believe in this Notre Dame mission and the 4 for 40 and all that. It genuinely hurts you when a player you're excited to see and wanted to be a Notre Dame guy till graduation or NFL leaves and it doesn't work out. You just feel bummed out about it, but also it's just the reality. This is just the reality. It's not necessarily just Notre Dame. It just it with Notre Dame, it's a lightning rod. It's like the biggest position it happens, or like it's always a big story. So what do you think of him being open to returning, John? If he flirts around, nobody loves him and comes back. Is that awkward in the locker room? Or do you think those guys understood why and they'll welcome him back and then the depth isn't an issue next year?
Well, it all depends on stuff we don't know. What conversations has he had with Marcus and with the rest of his teammates? So
yeah,
you know, you don't know enough to evaluate that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let's say he moves. Or I'm in the boat of if there's a Power 5 team that want to Pine, I think there should be a spot somewhere for Buckner, whether it's Alabama or somewhere else. So I could see him leaving, and that leaves Notre Dame in a very dangerous quarterback position again. What are your thoughts on that dynamic? Because if you go into next year and then Hartman gets hurt, we're having last year all over again.
That is very true, and somebody would have to step up.
Yep.
Just like Pine did. I mean, he did step up. He didn't have the tools, as you've noted many times.
Yeah, but he gave his all. Yeah, that wasn't on him.
He stepped in there, and he did the best he could.
Yeah. So, John, go ahead.
I'll give you your nightmare scenario.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, I think.
Buckner goes to Alabama.
Okay.
Buckner goes to Alabama. Hartman leads Notre Dame to undefeated or 11-1 year, and we're in the playoffs. And who do we draw but Alabama? And who's starting for Alabama? A kid named Tyler Buchner.
All right. I'm not going to be a jerk. No, wait. I'm not going to be a jerk here. But I'm telling you, John, if Tyler Buckner starts for Alabama this year, I'm not worried about them being in the playoff. And I am not trying to be mean, but throwing Tyler Buckner in Alabama's starting quarterback role right now, I ain't worried about meeting them in the playoff. I'm not. I'm just not. And I'm not trying to rip Buckner. I just don't see that all working that smoothly.
Well, I think it's a real long shot, but I'm just trying to give you maybe when you fall asleep tonight, this nightmare.
Like I don't already have enough. You already know every time I talk to you, I say I lay awake at night and toss and turn, and now you're adding something else on my brain. Oh,
yeah. Well, I'm just here to help, John.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I wanted to mention this because I took issue with Pat a couple of shows ago.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't, John? Who doesn't? It's easier to make a list of who doesn't take issue with Pat. What did he do this time?
Okay, he was concerned that Freeman handled the Styles thing differently than the Pine thing.
Yes, I remember that discussion.
Yeah, and I watched and listened to Freeman's talk about Pine, and he said he asked him to stay. So, and Pat was like, well, he told him to go. And I don't know how Pat got that, but anyway, I wanted to mention that.
Yep, we'll bring that up, and I know Pat's on the line, so he'll get to answer. We'll see his answer to that. Maybe whatever. We'll do that. So, John, this all just feels kind of uncomfortable to me. And some of this is natural. Some of it, I think, is Marcus trying to be more direct about his path and whatever, but also trying to be understanding and fair. Some of this is just very awkward, but a part of the growing process with the new coach, I think. It's just a little rocky.
Well, I agree. I mean, I'd like to see Marcus have a press conference and address all this stuff, but then it's like, oh yeah, he's panicking. He's got to explain everything.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't.
You know, there's just no right way. It seems like.
And the other thing is too, and this is very difficult for people who do what I do, and all of you guys listening and watching. We don't know all of the discussions behind the scenes. We don't know all the dynamics. There may be a lot more going on with all these situations we have questions about with Styles or Collie or whatever that we're never going to know. And then people like me got to just like kind of go with what makes the most logical sense. But I'm open to the idea that we don't know all the behind the scenes stuff. I know that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And of course, back in the during the season, I can't remember what. Well, I know what it was. It was afterwards when we didn't get that coordinator from Utah. That's what I tried to say. We just, we don't know what's going on in the conversations between these people.
Yeah.
And yet we judge it based on our own prejudices and wants and desires. And
yeah, but wait, though. Wait, I'm going to add one more thing to that, though. You're right about what we want and our emotions and our desires. But a lot of my positions are also based on just drawing logical conclusions off the information I do have. Now, that doesn't mean I'm right, because I may not know all the dynamics, and the Ludwig thing is a great example of that. But in the absence of knowing all that, all I could do then is try and make sense of the most logical things I think it could be. But I realize that's philosophically dangerous. So some of this we're just never going to know. But this is going to be interesting, John. I can't wait to see how this plays out, because no matter what way this plays out, it's going to be ultra interesting and have a bunch of angles to it, no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. And I sincerely hope that Buckner gets what he wants. And that's thinking about him. Thinking about me, I hope he stays at Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly, because you want that comfort blanket having him as a backup. Hartman, Buckner 1-2 is about, that is really solid. Everybody was feeling good about that as a 1-2. But it's like, why do we get that? Like, who are we to get that comfort? If we can't love a guy that much, but only to say you're the number 2 and we only love you to number 2. Like, it's kind of hypocritical in a way to be like, we love you and we want you to stay, but not as the starter. Like, that comes off weird to me too. Who am I to demand that you stay and we want you to stay, but just not the starter? You're not good enough for that. That feels kind of crappy of me to say too.
Well, right.
Right.
And the thing is, because of his past history, he's still a question mark.
Yeah. It's tough, John. Yeah. John, there's a lot here, man. And so how do you think this might end up resolving itself? If you had to guess, what do you think the most likely scenario is here?
I think he's going to find a spot, and it won't be Alabama.
It's kind of what I was thinking too. Monday morning. I don't know.
We'll know Monday morning.
Will it be that fast? I don't know the time frame. I have no idea.
Well, I think the portal closes the 30th.
Oh, then there you go. Wow, this is going to be quick moving action. Anything else, John?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to call you the next 2 Wednesdays. I'm going to be on the road. I'm driving to Idaho next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday coming back. But and the route I take,
no service.
The phone service isn't too good, but I may give it a shake.
All right. Well, I just don't want you driving, listening to me, and I say something dumb, and it makes you swerve all over the road. I don't need that I don't need that on me, Dr. John. So stay away if you need to stay away. Okay.
Okay, bud.
All right.
Well, you have a great rest of the day, and I'll check in with you again on Friday morning on the chat.
Beautiful. Safe travels, my friend. Drive safe.
Okay, bud.
See ya.
Take care.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Man, This is just all tough. Pat, what's the deal?
So, first thing is, regardless of what happens, Buckner's a Notre Dame guy. All right, he loves Notre Dame. He clearly loves Notre Dame. He's a Notre Dame guy. So I don't have ill will for this kid. I don't. I'm not like, good, he's gone, and I'm just not. I'm not like that. Wherever he goes, I'm going to support him. I'm going to hope he does well. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it seems to me. Lemon reported, and a couple others have picked up on it, that he put in the portal, do not contact, which means he's not fielding offers. So if that's the case, it truly sounds like he's trying to go to Alabama. He wants to go follow Tommy.
But
man, if I'm Nick Saban, I'm not doing that.
But wait, Pat,
I am not doing that.
If he does that, is he going to start? Because otherwise, why would you go somewhere else to be a backup when you're already when you were going to be a backup? And that's why you would. That's why you would want to leave, is to not be a backup, but you're going to go there and be a backup. Then that would tell me you're just done with Notre Dame and all the frustrations and the bad luck, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me, his decision, and that's why I think. So it's clearly, he said it in his statement that he got permission from Freeman to look. So he's doing the looking. He's not fielding offers. He's doing the looking based on his portal status, and then he can decide if he wants to come back to Notre Dame. So it clearly seems like he's trying to go to Bama with Tommy, and if that doesn't work out, he's going to come back to Notre Dame. Lemmy did say as well that he may try to go back to California. So Stanford or a school like that is a possibility, because he can go back to California because he's from California. So go play closer to home. That would make sense to me too.
Somebody's saying in the chat, Pat, that somebody's saying the do not contact kind of implies there's a lot of back channeling there, and it's a way to kind of keep that avenue clean in a way. Do you blame Buckner for thinking about this with his history and all the frustration?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Not.
Me neither.
First of all, everybody, all the trolls in the chat, it's like they're dunking. It's like they're LeBron dunking on someone right now. They're so happy because it's like the program is falling apart because 3 guys transferred. But we've been saying all along 3 guys need to transfer. Like, they're over on scholarships. Now, is it the 3 guys that we wanted them to transfer? No. But I wish all 3 of these guys would have stayed. But whatever, they're over on scholarships. You have to lose 3 guys somewhere. That's number 1. And number 2, we always knew that this was a possibility with Buckner once Hartman came in.
Yeah.
And you and I and Adam, we stood there in the spring game, and when you talked to Adam on Monday, you said exactly what I said. You repeated what I said. I saw all I needed. Hartman's the guy. Buckner's not going to play. Buckner doesn't have it. He is not going to be the guy in this offense. And so I still doesn't think. To me, it doesn't make sense for Buckner to leave at this point, because I don't think he's going to get to Alabama. I just think that's a terrible mistake for Saban, because then if he brings him in and he's got Reese and it doesn't work out, Saban's going to look like a total asshole. At least he could say if Reese doesn't work out, he's not working out in his, he's just not working out with the top line recruits. But you bring Buckner in, it just makes it a whole mess, and Saban's going to get a lot of criticism that he's not used to. So it just doesn't make sense. Cousin Luke, no, they didn't. These guys, once they're on, whatever, shut up.
No, wait. Here's the issue I have with this argument is, a lot of times people will bring up like a guy's recruiting rank when he's like a year 3 player. But that doesn't matter anymore once they're there. Then you're not a recruit anymore. Then I need you to be good on the field. Not just say we lost a 5-star recruit, but he's in his 3rd year at Notre Dame and I haven't seen a bunch of stats yet. Those are different, right?
Yeah, right. It's like who's the Buckner fanboy that was calling in, making all these reasons why they shouldn't get Hartman, and one of his reasons was he wasn't a top recruit. You had 4 years of play on the field to show that he is a top quarterback. Like, they're showing that he can throw the ball and he can move an offense. Who gives a damn about his recruiting status? And Buckner's a third-year guy. I don't care about his recruiting status anymore. I care about what he's shown on the field.
Yeah.
I wanted the kid to succeed. I wanted the kid to be good. He's not doing it. He's not showing it. So he's trying to go somewhere else. If he goes somewhere else, salute. Best of luck to you. I'm going to cheer for you. I'm going to, just like I'm going to do for Drew Pye and Styles and Collie and anybody else who came to this program and tried to help it make it better, and they decided that this isn't best for them, they have to go somewhere else because they were Notre Dame guys at some point. Same way for Tommy Rees. I'm going to support them.
Yeah, it's cousin Luke says, Pat, I respect you now, but I don't know why. Yeah, join the club, man. I've been asking myself that for 25 years. All right, wait.
People freaking out. Hold on, John.
They're not freaking out. I think they love this kind of stuff. They love it that I'm going to get all mad and worked up. This is entertaining. I think they love it. They eat it up.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. But the idea, like, he lost the locker room.
Yeah, no.
That's just idiotic. Nope. That's so stupid. Not even close. 3 guys transferring, the program's falling apart. Oh, by the way, we're over on scholarships. We needed 3 guys to transfer. And I said it before the spring game, you'll probably see 4 to 5 guys transfer because Freeman probably wants to see if he can bring another guy or 2 into the program.
Yeah.
But I don't think he should try to bring another quarterback in.
Yeah.
I think you go with what you have.
Yeah.
I think you have to go with what you have.
All right.
Because
now,
number one, who's going to want to come into a program where they know they're not going to play?
Yeah. All right. Let's go with,
So
let's move this along. Move this along, Pat. Here's the next step of this. Obviously, next year, that puts you in peril. If Hartman goes down, you're in a rough spot. You just have to pray that doesn't happen if you're not going to have Buckner behind him. Where I think it gets, so that's that dynamic. What gets really interesting is the next year. I think the best case scenario would be either Minchie develops a ton and it's year 2 and then he could play, or Carr really bulks up physically, comes in there, whips the ball all over, is undeniable. Yeah. You for once in recent Notre Dame history, can you get a guy good enough to play young, hitch your wagon to him, go through the learning pains together as a team, and turn out great in 2 or 3 years? We've done every quarterback path except for that one. Try it.
Yes.
Yes. After all that, what a great response. Yes. Yes. But I'm serious. We've gone every other quarterback path, transfer guys, upperclassmen year or 2. The one we haven't had is getting a high elite potential skill guy in there young and then growing with him. And you know what, Pat? I got all these upperclassmen Notre Dame quarterbacks or transfers or whatever, and they're making mistakes in these games and we're not getting over the hump. You may as well have those mistakes from a young guy that can learn from them, and in 2 or 3 years is better for it, not just an accountant somewhere.
Yeah.
Try that as a path.
Let me address something from Cousin Luke. Tell me why Akibi would want to play for Freeman. I don't know. Ask Sam Hartman. I don't know. Ask C.J. Carr, who has reaffirmed his commitment to Notre Dame. Ask Kenny Minchie, who has committed to Notre Dame, is now.
But wait, I don't understand the premise of the question. What's Freeman doing that's so bad to the offense? I don't understand what you want.
I don't know why quarterbacks want to play for Freeman, but I know there's they got a very good quarterback to transfer in, and they got a very good quarterback to commit, and they got a stud quarterback committed to the team for next year. So I don't know what that. It's just, again, cousin, you're reaching for shit here.
Pat, here's the problem. The problem with this is, especially in society today, and I admit I'm a part of this, you want to know who's right, who's wrong, what to blame when you don't like something, so you know the dynamic here. I don't blame anybody here. I do not blame Buckner for his frustrations. I don't blame Freeman for looking at the dynamic and getting Hartman to protect us from being what we were last year. Like, everybody was trying to do their best here. Some things just end up complicated and messy. But I don't look at any of this and go, oh, I'm mad at Buckner for wanting to play and being frustrated, or blaming Freeman for going after Hartman. I don't think anybody's really in the wrong here. It's just a frustrating dynamic.
No.
And everybody's struggling with it because you want to blame something or say it's this guy's fault or it's this thought's fault or whatever. It isn't that simple.
The most frustrating part of this is this directly links back to the former coach. This quarterback.
No. Don't do it.
100% reflection of the recruiting.
Now we're getting somewhere, Pat. I had a long discussion. Hey, wait.
John, you can go back in the comments. Somebody put a comment in there that I never thought about it before. But this was a problem started with Jack Cohn when Notre Dame brought him in.
No.
It set the room back, and I never thought about that.
Pat, every single damn time I bring up a problem Notre Dame's in last year or now, and even try to suggest that a part of the reason we're in the problem is because of what Reese and Kelly were doing or Kelly was allowing others to do. Anytime I bring that up, I take nothing but shit from everybody saying you are just blaming Kelly for everything and you are sucking up to Freeman. You're not holding him accountable at all. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't think what happened before is still a part of this, you're not paying attention. These people act like every year is a fresh slate in the last 4 years. Don't roll into it. It's a part of it. How much we could debate that, but we could debate how much of it with the roster inefficiencies and all that. The wide receiver hole we were in digging out of was them too. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear it. It's me kissing up to Freeman and blaming Kelly for everything. It's a part of the discussion. That's fair.
Yeah, it is absolutely fair. It's absolutely fair. It is a part of the discussion. It's the catalyst of the problem. And it's the mismanagement of the roster by the former coach. Freeman is fixing it. He hasn't fixed everything right. And everything. You got these kids, would we be having this conversation if Dante Moore was on the roster? Would we? I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think we'd be like, all right, great. Here comes Dante Moore. Let's go. We probably wouldn't even have Hartman on the roster if Dante Moore came.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Because you wouldn't have needed it. Talent.
Yeah, and then you would add Buckner too, maybe, for a while. So I don't know, Pat.
But Notre Dame has to stop. The quarterback position is not. It's not a wide receiver room. It's not the defensive line or the offensive line or linebackers where you can just do what Brian Kelly did at LSU or what Lincoln Riley is doing at USC or what Primetime is doing at Colorado. Talk about a program. Everyone's freaking out about three guys leaving Notre Dame. He's got 29 guys or something that transferred after the spring game, and we're going to freak out about three guys leaving Notre Dame. I know, and again, that's by his plan. So, and he's doing his plan, and Freeman's doing his plan. So it's just maddening to think that the panic that comes out about this when half the people in here were wanting Buckner gone anyways. They wanted him to leave anyways. It's just
in the modern Pat, in the modern era, I am really starting to think, who the hell am I to get everything I want? Have the starting quarterback I want come in from off the street somewhere else, bump the loyal guy we've had here down to second string and just expect him to be cool with that again. So a part of me is really saying, who am I to get everything I want for my Notre Dame comfort? There's other things involved here. That guy wants to go play and I don't blame him, but I can't handle all the messages on Twitter, private messages saying, John, what are people telling you behind the scenes? We're falling apart. I do not feel that way at all. I just don't.
Yeah, it's nobody looks at the bigger picture. We have to start from the fact that you need guys to leave. He's over scholarships. I don't know how many times people just ignore that.
But they want the guy, Pat. They you know what it is.
Players. You got to be at 85.
They want the guys to leave that you've never heard of, Pat. They want the guys at the very, very bottom of the roster, a fourth-string lineman no one's ever heard. That's who they want to leave, not a guy that had.
But those are, And you didn't hear, but the whole thing is, like I said this before, when we're talking about the defense, what the defense is going to look like, and the depth on the defensive side. I don't know what he has. I don't know all the guys on the roster.
Yeah.
Maybe Kali's leaving because there's some guy just pushing him.
Yeah.
There's pushing up. Some guy is pushing him. Some guy is showing he's better, and he's not going to see the field, and that's what it is. I don't know. I'm not in those conversations. I don't know why these guys are deciding to leave, but they're leaving. And so they go. And like I said before, I'll say it again. They're Notre Dame guys at one point, so I'm going to cheer for them and hope they do well.
Yeah.
The same with any other player that has come through Notre Dame and left and gone somewhere else. I was a fan of the Kansas Jayhawks for like a season or two because there was a bunch of Notre Dame guys on that team with Charlie Weiss. I didn't really care for Charlie Weiss, but I supported the guys that want to go play with him.
Right. All right. Let me ask you this, Pat. And 361-219-318-480-574. I got you all coming up. Let me ask you this. We got to get through next year with Hartman upright, or this is going to turn into a whole repeat disaster again that we cannot afford. But let's move it into the next year. How do you see the dynamic shaking out when you end up with an Angeli Minchie Carr competition without Buckner to be somewhat of a known in that mix? That's the next big iteration of what's coming here, assuming we navigate next year. What do you want that to look like?
See, that's why I think if Buckner stays fine, I'm fine with that. But if he goes, I definitely think you can't bring another guy in. You can't bring another guy in because Minchie's going to have a year under his belt. It's his opportunity, and Minchie will probably be the two. I hope we've just never seen anything from Angeli, so I don't know what that kid had. And Minchie was just a higher rated recruit, I believe, if memory serves. So he's clearly the front runner for next year, and that's fine. Tony Rice was a sophomore. It's not like a sophomore. It's not like a sophomore can't step in and be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It's just they can do that.
You know what I was going to say, Pat? You know what
Carr comes in and pushes them.
This is messed up. I was going to say, if you had a dynamic for the following year where it's Buckner and Jelly Minchie Carr in a competition, I was going to say they're all pretty much unknowns, but Buckner's the most known of the unknowns at that point is honestly how I would look at it. Yeah. I don't know.
That's right.
This is, there's a lot of overreactions, and I know I'm an overreactor, but it's like very specific what triggers me. And like this whole, the program's falling apart thing, it doesn't register to me at all.
Yeah.
It does not register to me at all.
Ludicrous.
And trust me, my antennae are always up for that sort of thing. And I do not see that. I think this is a part of, you could argue it should look kind of iffy like this. If the new guy really wants to institute some changes and put his DNA on it, he has a different vision for the roster, whatever it might be. Some of this in this overlap of regimes where they combine is normal to an extent. We just don't like it. It's extra sensitive to us here.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is. I don't know why. It makes sense. This whole thing makes sense. This is something everybody was expecting to happen. Everyone was like, this could happen. Everybody said there's a possibility Buckner doesn't get the job. He's going to transfer. Again, I don't agree with it. And he's a troll, John.
Everybody,
why do you even bother with it?
Because it's funny. Everybody just kept telling me, though, he loves Notre Dame like we do. He's never going to leave because he loves Notre Dame. Bro, some things run deeper than your love for Notre Dame. Wanting to make a career out of football might be one of those things. And if it ain't going to happen in Notre Dame, I love you, but I'm going to go play somewhere else for my future. And so I'm fulfilled, but I still love Notre Dame.
I love Notre Dame. And the last 4 years or 3 years of Brian Kelly being the head coach, because I despise him so much, I stopped going. I said, I'm not going to give money to this school because I dislike this guy so much. By the way, the first 7-8 years, I went every year because I thought he could do something. But I just finally gave up. He wasn't going to do it. And I'm going to take the same approach with Marcus Freeman. I am going to support the guy. I want the guy to succeed. This is what bothers me with the trolls, because I don't believe in any sort of there's no genuineness to what they're doing. They know they're going to rile you, John, and so they're just making stupid ass comments for the rile. They're not actually productive in their statements or what they're saying. Like cousin Luke, I mean, I will whip your ass again to the point where you block me like you did last time, because you can't stand up an argument worth the damn. You are either too dumb or you are just an
wait, Pat. Wait, you're telling me he's just trying to get you riled up, and then you go let him get you riled up. Why?
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I know. All right, what else do you got, Pat? I got a full bank of calls I want to get to. What else you got?
Yeah, no, you get to your call. It's just people got to relax. This is fine.
But wait, Pat, let me ask you that. I got to finish with this. Wait, I got to finish with this. What do you think the most likely outcome of this is short term as far as Buckner's decision? Alabama or somewhere else? Do you think he's gone? Pretty sure gone.
I don't think he's gone, personally. I don't think he's gone. That's a total 50-50. You know, I could absolutely be wrong. I don't think it's going to work with Bama. And it's that stuff, that no contact stuff, and it just screams to me that he's trying to go to Tommy, and I don't think that works, and he's not gonna. Where else is he gonna go?
Yeah,
and so it's so hard to transfer right now too to a. You don't have spring ball, so all you're gonna have to do is fall ball. You're already behind whatever quarterbacks are on the roster to where you go.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to learn a new playbook. It just doesn't make sense. So I really this is a. Hey, coach, can I call Tommy, see if I can go there? And if he takes me, go. Otherwise, I'll stay here. But I have to go into transfer portal, so I'm going to come. You know, like that seems like the most logical conversation.
But wait a second. But Pat, couldn't that have all been done on like a text message, and then nobody knows any of it happened between everybody involved, and then it's not a big media story, and then if there's something to it, then it becomes one. But you could have avoided all of this media.
Well, maybe I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know. The text messages indicate compliance issues.
I guess
that and stuff like it. He's probably not. You know, if he's back channel, and I don't know who's calling who to get to Tommy or however that works. But
it's Saban on a flip phone. It's Saban on a Nokia flip phone. That's who's calling him. We
don't need a cheeseburger situation where we get some penalties because of stupid stuff.
All right, Pat. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts, my friend. I appreciate it. I knew you were going to be loaded up for this one.
I'm trying to be reserved because I don't think this deserves the vigor that people have for it.
Yeah.
If he goes, he goes. If he stays, he stays. We should have saw this coming. And Styles can't catch. So, okay, he's going to go. Colley's the one that I don't understand.
I don't get it. I don't get it, dude. It's like, Styles was so highly ranked, and now we're letting him leave. We're missing out on bro. He had all last year to catch balls and wasn't doing it. How much you want me to cry for that?
This is so. You know what, John? One last thing. You know what Notre Dame needs to do? They really need
win. How about win? How about win stuff?
Well, yeah, but they need to do that. If they're going to compete, because if you look at what USC did, we can't sit back and watch this guy rebuild his entire freaking defense with guys with playing experience from other schools and think we're just gonna go and he had no defense last year, and we lost to USC. Now they might actually have a defense this year, and still the best quarterback in the country, and we think they're going to roll into our house and roll over? Are you kidding me? You know, like I was reading an article about that defensive tackle that just transferred out of Colorado.
Yep.
Now he goes to Colorado, so he might not be able to read. I don't know. But the guy is huge. He's huge, and he's played. He's got experience, and he's not bad. It's a perfect guy to bring into the program and stuff him in the middle of the defensive line.
Yep. All right. Have a good day, Pat. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Go take some Pepto-Bismol or something. All right. We got a full bank. Let's keep going. 361. Let's have a little fun.
Hey, John, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, what's going on? It's been a while. You call a lot during the season, and then I haven't heard from you for a while. What's up, man?
Well, January 6th, I got a new job, and mornings aren't as flexible and free as they once were. But I'm working on it. I
appreciate you being here for special occasions. Then, what do you make of this dynamic, man? What do you think of Buckner's decision to look and open to returning, and where does this leave Notre Dame?
Well, first things first, I got to know your answer because tweeted I just copy and paste this exact phrase. It started with Styles, bled into Collie, now we're at Buckner. Let me ask you this. When was the last time, the last 4 to 5 years, forget Kelly, Freeman, era, whatever, the last 4 to 5 years, name me one player that has transferred out of Notre Dame that has gone on to be successful somewhere else. And fun fact, Jordan Johnson has yet to catch a football. So there's your rankings and stars and whatever. But
yeah, that's a good point.
4 to 5 years of transfer.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
We're up in arms. We're up in arms about this. Maybe the coaches know what they're doing and they're playing the right guys in the right position. And Styles, real quick, you just watched the spring game. Jaden Greathouse has passed him. I know it was a spring game. I know it's whatever, but
yeah, Styles
was struggling on the offensive side. He switched to defense. If you watch the game, Benjamin Morris is still Benjamin Morrison. Mickey had a pick. Cam Hart, where's Styles playing? He's transferring out. That's not a loss. I assure you of that. Collie. Yeah, if you don't have the COVID year, he's probably playing instead of Bertrand and Leofau and Kaiser. But we just saw Osbury look really good. We saw Ziegler look good.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. Snead is good.
Yeah, Bowen's going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the exodus of Collie, so I think he might have the most potential, but look, don't be so short-sighted and so tunnel vision on this thing. It like you and Pat were talking, it's been 3 years. If he was supposed to be on the field, he would be. Again, tell me the guy that left and was successful. The coaches know what they're doing. Now we're at Buckner. I'm sorry, but you put it on your show post-spring game. My eyes tell me a lot of things, and me and you have always aligned. We've been saying it before you had your show like this. I've always aligned with you in what you see. Before you say it, I'm thinking the same thing. I know what I saw, and sorry, but Buckner wasn't starting. And if Minchie has potential, we don't know.
But see, I don't think that's the complaint now. Now the complaint is everybody's on board with Hartman, but we wanted our safety blanket as Buckner as the backup. That's the argument now. And then I say to my own face, who the hell am I to get all the modern comforts I want with the starter I want, and then tell this guy you're going to be, I love you, but only as my side chick. You're not my main girl. I love you, but only as my side girl, right?
Yeah, no, I get that. But here's, okay, you've said this multiple times. When was the last time Notre Dame was in this situation where we had two really good quarterbacks that had to be chosen?
Yeah, look at that as progress. No, you bring up a really good point. Look at that as progress. The fact that we're in a position debating over two guys, some people each wanted to start. That's progress then. It's a low bar, but it's progress.
Exactly. And, for the, I guess Freeman's not a player's coach, can't get these guys to stick around. Well, guess what? These guys aren't dumb either. And if Buckner believes he should be a starter and could be a starter, I don't know about Alabama, but if he believes he can be a starter, he's not dumb. He's like, well, okay, I'm going to go somewhere where I can play and can start. Does that mean I don't love Notre Dame? Of course not. It just means I want my skills to be put on display somewhere, and if it can't be here, let it be somewhere else. It's today's society. Accept it.
Yeah, but dude, I totally understand 100% if Tyler Buchner wakes up every day more frustrated than the day before. I 100% understand. That guy, I exaggerate things for effect sometimes. I'm not kidding. He has had bad luck, bad timing, more bad luck, more bad timing, nonstop for like 5 years now. And he's frustrated. And I don't blame him, and I don't know what the best answer is to alleviate that frustration, because now you had a guy ball out Saturday that everybody wants to see play at Notre Dame, and he's going to be the starter. So it's just a frustrating thing for everybody involved. You think Freeman wants to make Buckner feel like he's no good and like shit? Freeman doesn't want to do that. He wants to support Buckner too, but he's got an obligation to win. And Hartman's going to do more of that next year than Buckner. So where does that leave everybody in this stew of awkward?
Yes, and I know it's just a spring game, but the one thing Buckner has over Hartman is probably his legs, and the spring game red jersey legs were taken out, so you had to be able to throw the football, and it didn't look smooth, it didn't look fluid, and I know we didn't have the better of the offensive lines in that situation, but it just ugh.
That you just summed it up. That one noise just summed up all of it. Like that, it's frustration. It's just like, I don't know what the right answer is. I want everybody to end in a good place, but it's also, I want Notre Dame to be supported with a good backup. There's a little of all of this. And I just think all of it's a little overblown. And maybe I'm a part of that problem, but it's a big deal. And there's a lot of loyalty with Buckner. Notre Dame people have always wanted to support him, always wanted to see him develop, always felt bad when he got hurt. Like we've all wanted to support the guy, but it's just how many years are we going to do that?
Exactly. It's like you said, he's the most known of the unknown, but he's still unknown. So the real question is, somebody tell me with certainty, what are we losing with Buckner transferring out?
Potential. The same, you know what you're losing, Mike? You know what you're losing? You're losing the same thing you were losing when Tommy Rees went to Alabama. Unrealized potential that someday you might see something awesome, but you haven't yet. That's what, when I ask that's what you're missing. You're missing maybe elite down the road, but no evidence that you're going to get it because it wasn't here.
Yeah, I haven't even brought this up to any conversation with anybody, Twitter, my dad, whoever. Remember when we were up in arms, Brian Kelly, Ranger Kovic out of South Bend? Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Find me the guy who was like, oh man, look what we're missing out with. Look what Boston College has become because Jurkovic's there now.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, I realize I'm playing glass half full, silver lining, being optimistic, but I'm also trying to, like you always say, let's try to stay tethered to reality and logic here. You're not missing out on anything you can actually tangibly define.
Mike, that is where I lose my mind with the Rees and now Buckner discussion. Where I lose my mind is if we were in the mix to be losing elite proven pieces, either as a coach or a player, I'm devastated. I can't drop that many tears for what might be, but already could have been here and wasn't. I can't do it. I got enough Notre Dame tears for everything else. I can't drop some for unrealized maybe.
No, exactly. That's where I get confused. And I go back to the first thing I said to you when I jumped on this call. Somebody tell me the last guy in the last few years that actually transferred out and did something that we were kind of like, regretful.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, man, what did we miss out on?
Yep. And so it's all very, very frustrating. And you know what else, man? We get stuck in this, and I'm guilty of it too. There's this romanticism around Notre Dame and Notre Dame football and the Rudy story and graduating Notre Dame and what a big deal that is and coming back to see the old boys. Like, there's so much romanticism tied up with the Notre Dame thing. We want that conclusion for all of our guys, especially quarterbacks. That's an extra romantic thing with our history and the Eismans in Montana and all that. And I get that. It's just not reality. It isn't going to be that storybook Notre Dame ending with that romantic feel for everybody. That's just not going to be the reality. And people really struggle with it.
Absolutely. And you have to look around. Like Pat was saying, how many guys have transferred out of A, B, and C school, but 3 guys out of Notre Dame, all of a sudden the whole world's been flipped upside down.
Yeah.
The reality is that's what's happening now. And we have to embrace it. The NIL, the transferring in and out, the freedom of movement. Yep. We have to accept it. But to go back to something I said that you agreed with is we're finding a place where we can get a little frustrated because we have two good guys. And one of them has to not play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like we're in a better position than we've been, and that's what happens when you start moving up the ladder. And Justin Fields, Joe Burrow. I mean, not saying that that's what Tyler Buckner is, but we're moving closer to having that situation than not, and that we got to look at that as a positive.
Yeah. So moving this forward, what do you think is the most likely outcome? What do you think is going to end up happening with Buckner, and then where that leaves Notre Dame for next year and the following?
So I'll be quick. So with Buckner, I mean, if he wants to chase Tommy Reese to Alabama and he just wants to go there, so be it. I just don't see him getting that opportunity there. The whole coming back, I think that statement has more to do with NIL than it does playing time. I think he's trying to find where he can make something on that end of the spectrum versus field time. Maybe that's Alabama, but I foresee him ending up at a slightly lesser Power 5 school and getting an opportunity to start.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too. But it was similar to the Drew Pine thing, like a kind of like a mid Power 5 team that needs a guy with a skill set that, like, I thought that too. The Alabama thing is so interesting. I would be so interested to see how that plays out. And then if he doesn't start there, then I'm asking, what are we really doing here? Then you just really needed to get out of Notre Dame and have a palate cleanser to just get out of that scene. Then that's what that would tell me.
Yeah, I think Alabama is like the top. Arizona State, where Pine went, is kind of closer to the bottom. Buckner's somewhere in the middle, where he will end up. Could it be an SEC school? Of course. Which SEC school? You're probably closer to Missouri than you are Alabama.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I just, if he's looking for playing time and an opportunity to start without much resistance, I don't think it's Alabama. And I don't know what Milroe or Simpson are or aren't. It's just, that's not the path of least resistance if you're trying to start.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, but I get the frustration from Buckner 100% as a person. I understand it. And I also totally respect and understand Freeman being aggressive in the portal and going after the best quarterback he could to prevent us from being exposed the way we were last year, where if your starter goes down, you're dead. And it happened and we were dead. Okay. Nobody's in the wrong here. Nobody's in the wrong here. They're not, and nobody likes hearing that. But this is a scenario where I don't say you're wrong, you're the bad guy, you messed up. It isn't that, and it's messing with people's minds.
You can't tell me Marcus Freeman was sitting on a plane from Los Angeles back to South Bend, going, "How did USC get so good literally overnight?" And didn't. I'm not saying they did it the right way. That's the way I want Notre Dame to do it. But you can't tell me being on the same field as all those transfers, Caleb Williams on the spotlight, and sitting there going, how did they get so good? Maybe I should take some of that and implement it into Notre Dame in a Notre Dame way. And Sam Hartman is that.
Yeah. Yep. It's a complicated dynamic, as everything tends to be with Notre Dame. Listen, man, I really appreciate you giving me a call. It's been a while. It's really nice to reconnect with you, man.
Absolutely, John. Thank you.
Hey, and you know what else? I do remember seeing a tweet about the job. Congratulations on that, my man. You deserve it. Good job.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good one, man. Call again. Nice guy. Calls in the season. I miss him. All right. We still got a bunch of calls. Let's go. 219. Good morning.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yep. I got you. What's on your mind, my friend? There's a lot going on. Where are you coming from on this?
Well, first off, I want to say I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. My name's Marco, and I'm BBG should be coach.
Ah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, dude, it's always interesting to make the connection to the name. And then, like, even at the tailgate, people would walk up to me and go, and I'm like, what's your screen name? Because that's how I'll know you. It was hilarious how that works in your mind. Well, thank you. I really appreciate the support. A perfect time to jump in on the calls here. What do you make of the dynamic? What do you think of Buckner entering the portal, open to returning maybe? And where does this leave Notre Dame's quarterback room?
Okay, I don't think Buckner leaving is a big issue. The one thing about that is I've been putting it on the chat the last couple of times. One problem under Kelly is that we've never had a backup quarterback ever get any sort of playing time, any meaningful playing time. And every starting quarterback under Kelly as well regressed. That's why we ended up going home.
That's a fact.
So with I mean, every single one. We have not. Their first year, every time was their best year.
You're right.
We have quarterback battles going into the season. So with that said, I think this eliminates that problem. I think Buckner kind of sees the writing on the wall with Minchie. I think Styles sees the writing on the wall with the wide receivers. I want to say, it's a Brian Kelly problem, but that's due to the fact that they're seeing. You have a lot of these 4 3-star guys. Kelly was great at finding a diamond in the rough, but now some of these guys are seeing, hey, Freeman's bringing in some talent.
Yeah.
We got to go elsewhere. We're not going to get that playing time.
Yep.
So with that said, back to your question with Buckner, I think that this is perfect because if Hartman can stay healthy, you're developing Minchie, you're developing peanut butter jelly, you're you're gaining them some meaningful reps. I think Freeman's smarter in that instance to actually start developing for the future.
All right, but what happens? Now, wait, though. Here's where that could burn you, though. Where that can burn you is this year 2 of the Freeman era is set up to be a very key one and a big one, and it's a tough schedule, and you want momentum heading into the new playoff era the next year. I like what you're saying, but if Hartman, somebody falls on his leg or he loses a battle to Buckner's staircase, then you're in a very rough spot next year, because I understand what you're saying about developing Angeli and Minchie. I'm not trying to develop Angeli against USC at home next October, though. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
So you got to keep that guy in one piece.
Don't we have 3 or 4 easy teams before we have Ohio State?
You have Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, CMU, I believe, the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, so with that said, one thing we've also have never seen under Kelly, which, judging by our offense, how our offense looked in the blue gold game this year, we've seen more offensive potential, in my opinion, this year from the wide receiver standpoint, running standpoint, all of that, than we have under any time under Kelly. Maybe that one offensive year that it was 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, I think.
So I think those 3-4 games where we blow a team out by halftime, we're putting in our backups, we're putting in Minchie, we're putting in those guys. I think we're going to be okay. Worst comes to worst, it's going to be another Kelly run the ball offense when it comes to USC, but we have the wide receivers now, it appears, or at least more than what we had.
All right, let me ask you this.
We have the potential to spread the offense out
Let me ask you this. This is an interesting question. If Buckner leaves and goes anywhere outside of Notre Dame, how does the backup situation work behind Hartman? I believe Minchie has more high-end upside than Angeli probably does, but Angeli's been in the program longer. Is he the default backup? And then Minchie doesn't get that much action? How does that work? Because you're going to want both those guys ready to go for the competition the next year when Carr comes in, and then they're all fighting it out. How does that go?
I don't know. I'll be the first to admit that.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know it either. But these are the things I got to think about now. And then what do you make of these players leaving? Is Notre Dame falling apart? We're losing all of our good guys and the culture's breaking. I don't see it that way. I just don't.
Personally, I don't either. I think this is a good problem to have. All we hear about is how hard Freeman is working, how hard he is pushing his coaches to work on the recruiting trail. All these, 4 or 5 stars. And yeah, we may not land every single one of them,
Yeah.
But we are shopping down the different aisle that Kelly wasn't shopping down.
Yeah.
And so these guys that weren't producing on the field are sort of seeing the writing on the wall. I'm not saying all of them aren't working hard. I believe everyone's working hard. But some of them are just like, hey, I'm here. I'm the starter. I'm on the team. I'm getting playing time. Everything's good. Now you're getting guys who probably, who have that talent and probably want to win too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a perfect example with the Styles situation, which you mentioned and other people have mentioned. They're not, they're seeing the writing on the wall there.
Yeah, like
Hey,
you
these guys
could
are
argue,
hungry and they're talented.
see, but that's something not a lot of people are open to. There is a flip side to this coin. I think it was Adam, who calls from work a lot, who texted me last night. Anybody open to the idea that maybe Freeman's making room for great players to replace some good ones? Like, there's a flip side to that. Like, the Styles thing specifically could actually be evidence of improvement, not regression. If a part of this is him feeling the heat from teenagers younger than him going in there and he's worried they're playing better than him already, that's not a negative. That's a positive for Notre Dame. Nobody wants to hear that side of it.
Yeah, but then that's exactly how teams get better. And when that happens, when you do have those players that are more talented, that are making these plays, that are giving these Kelly guys, a bigger run for their money, when they end up blowing teams out like we should the first 3 or 4 games, you're going to get even younger guys, but your backups more playing time.
Yeah.
I think that's how Bama has been so successful, is they blow a team out. Yeah, they don't have the toughest schedule, at least outside of conference,
Yeah.
They're able to blow these teams out and get their backups so they're reloaded next year. Or when someone goes down, maybe not quarterback, but when someone goes down, they're able to plug and chug and keep that thing going. It's Kelly's next man up. Like, Kelly never had a next man up because he never developed anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah. It is a good point. It's a tricky dynamic here. I believe everybody's position in this. Here's the tricky part for me. I believe that everybody's feelings on this, from the coaches to Buckner to the player, whatever, they're all legitimate and perfectly human emotions and thoughts. It all makes sense to me. Nobody's in the wrong here. It just means that something's got to give and that everything just doesn't end up as ideal as everybody planned on. And that's life, and that's football, especially in the modern era where you can transfer right away and play right away. This isn't just a Notre Dame problem. It's just more personal to us.
Yeah, all those teams that your last caller said for USC, all those players that they got, they had to, they ended up leaving their teams. I think those teams that they left from were in worse position than we are. They don't have the problem of too much talent that I think that we currently have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough.
Was this not, like, offensively speaking, was this not one of the better blue goal games that we've seen in a while?
Well, I'm just not used to, I'm not used to seeing like passes completed, and I'm just not used to that kind of efficiency.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the blue goal game more than I enjoyed watching other games last year, regular season games.
Yeah.
And now I'm more excited from that standpoint because it's like we can actually throw the ball downfield. We have receivers that can catch.
Yeah. Do you ever think about this, man?
That can catch a ball.
Think about this. Think about recent years, kind of the good years when Kelly's higher level accomplishing teams, and based on the defense and then a heavy running attack and using the tight ends. Look at how much Notre Dame accomplished while not having any passing threat anybody was scared of ever. Just imagine what it could be like if you had a good running game, good tight end play, and you could stretch the field and throw the ball around. It's foreign to us. We might see that this year. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and it's going to make it. It's definitely going to make things harder on the defense, on all the defenses.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to just sell out on the run. They're not going to be able to just sell out on the run.
All they did was just stack the box. They had no respect for our passing game. And why should they?
Yeah, exactly.
Deep ball to save our lives.
Yeah. So where do you think this goes? What do you think ends up happening with Buckner? What's the most likely scenario, and where does that leave Notre Dame?
I think he is looking at Bama. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, I haven't seen anything official that does make the most logical sense. However, I think he's also
Wait, but does it? Wait. Time out. Does it make the most logical sense? I'm still unclear. If he goes there, is he Alabama starter? He went from trying to be Notre Dame starter, and 4 days later, even not being in the spring game, he's going to go in there and then start at Alabama? Like, I don't see that it makes perfect sense unless you're telling me he's starting there. If he's starting there, it makes sense. But if you're going to leave here to go there and be a backup there just to be with Tommy, I don't know how much sense that makes. Am I missing something?
Yeah,
Am I missing something?
No, you're not.
Other than sanity?
I personally think Tommy is an inside man trying to derail Bama right now.
Yeah, jeez, man, this is just all wild. It's just watching Notre Dame turn into the SEC has been really hilarious between all of Kelly's antics and now Reese. And then if this goes down, I don't know, my friend, but I don't blame anybody. I don't think anybody's in the wrong here. I think everybody's trying to be fair. I think everybody's trying to be considerate of the positions everybody else is in. Some of these things just don't have easy, comfortable answers. And that is maybe the conclusion I've come to here.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't blame Buckner for leaving. I don't blame Styles for leaving. I could see Buckner if he can start somewhere else, possibly, looking at that, because next year is his final year. I don't think he has a future in the NFL by any means. So if he comes back, I think that's going to leave a sour taste in everyone's mouth. So I think if he does come back, that's going to leave a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it might. Hey, nobody's going to bring that up. If he comes back and Hartman gets his ankle rolled on and we need a backup to be able to run the ball or win a game or whatever, nobody's going to remember it then if he comes back. Like, it might be kind of weird, but if you need him, if something happens to Hartman, nobody's going to say, oh, I wish he wasn't here. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but until that happens, and he does make that play, if he does come back, that's still going to be on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
That situation has to come up, though.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic in the fact that we can finally start developing a quarterback when he's young. I think Freeman is smarter than Kelly in terms of development. I mean, look at our wide receiver room from under Kelly, even last year, which, I mean, those were all Kelly guys. That was a Kelly situation because what do you expect? You expect Freeman as a defensive coordinator to recruit the offensive side as well back when he got hired in 2021. As a defensive coordinator, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it shakes out. Some of these things just don't have easy, comfortable resolutions. But thanks for calling, my friend. I'm glad you did. Save the number and call me again when this resolves itself. Call me back and we'll talk about where we're at then.
Oh, yeah. It was a pleasure talking to you, John.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, man. And I see your number. You're local. May get to a game or two next year. Let's meet up for sure, my friend.
Oh, yeah. I kind of wanted to go to the Blue Gold game, but I also wanted to have a few beers and a cigar with my dad.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say I also didn't want to freeze my ass off for 9 hours. I thought you were going to say that too. Yeah. But yeah, we'll connect though for a game this fall, man. We're thinking maybe Central Michigan. We might do a tailgate for that one. There's still a lot to figure out, but it's on the table. Stay tuned.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Thank you, John.
No problem, my friend.
All
So
right.
give me a call again when this resolves itself. Thank you.
Will do. Take care.
Take care. What a nice guy. All you guys are nice. All right, here's something. Check this out. 318-480-574 coming up. East Coast. Here, see, this is going to get me in trouble, but here we go. East Coast says, what are you trying to beef it out with Death Row? What are we doing? West Coast, East Coast? What do we got? Here's the thing. When are we going to place blame on the coaching staff? 3 high-profile recent departures, and mark my words, one more major guy, I don't know about that. 3 high-profile recent departures. How do you define high-profile? A backup? That ain't high-profile to me, I'm sorry. High-profile to me is Michael Mayer leaving you for his final year. That is high-profile. Benjamin Morrison, what he's turned into, saying I'm out of here, going to the SEC and then the NFL. That's high profile. Isaiah Foskey wanting to crank it up and leave. That is high profile. Losing a backup linebacker, a receiver who couldn't catch the football, and a backup quarterback who can't stay healthy and has as many touchdowns as pick sixes. If that's high profile, give me low profile. High profile, those are starters that make elite plays or high profile. We got different definitions. Once guys get into college, their recruiting star rank don't matter anymore. That's over. Then that evaluation is dead. Then you look at the production in college. High profile. Styles could not catch a pass when he was wide open last year. How is that high profile? You could argue Collie should have played more, and I will make that argument. But I can't call you high profile when you're not even a starter. I'm going to have a stroke on the air. At least you're all going to get to see it. Half of you will love it. Give me a freaking break. High profile. Everybody on Notre Dame's high profile. Nobody could stand to see a Notre Dame guy leave. Give me a break. High profile. How many catches did Styles have last year? Tell me how. Somebody look it up. Look up how many catches Styles had last year. Tell me it's high profile. This, I swear, it's one of those things where these people love Notre Dame, but they're so hurt by Notre Dame. Any little strand of negativity they rip to make this big, huge thing out of it. It isn't that dramatic, and I'm saying that while being dramatic. I am literally sweating. I love it. This is beautiful. There's no other way I'd want to do it in the morning. This is beautiful. Oh, my God. John, when Notre Dame goes 5-7, will you turn the show over to me? Here's what I'll tell you. If you let me see a demo of you doing a show and it's entertaining and I like your flow and you have cogent thoughts and you look like you have your shit together, feel free to come on after we're 5-7 and talk about how I was wrong and we're terrible and everything. But I can't let you do it blindly. You got to prove you can run the show. This ain't no amateur hour. I got to know you can handle it. So let me see you do a demo. You do an hour-long show on your own, making all these points. I will determine if that's good enough. We go 5-7. I'll let you host the show. But you're not going to willy-nilly it here. I got to see that you're good at it. So, Newt Rockney, I hope you're very entertaining and have good delivery. I want to see it, baby. Let me see it. James Thompson said, you got what you want, so what are you yelling about? Referring to me wanting Artman to start. Yeah, and I wanted Tyler as the backup. Like it's a two-part deal. You would have never, ever, ever, James, in any show I've done or any article I've written for USA Today Irish Wire, you will never find one of them where I said, it'd be great if Tyler Buckner left, if he was just out of here. Never. So don't get it twisted. I got what I wanted in terms of the starter, but I never said it didn't matter if Buckner left or I wanted him to leave. That was an important factor for next year to have him as a high-level backup. So I got what I wanted with the starter, but don't say that I wanted this guy to leave because that never happened. Totally different thing. I just didn't want him to be the starter. 318, good morning.
How you doing, bud?
I'm a little worked up today. I'm a little worked up today, but I'm doing fine. This is what I'm here for.
I understand. Look, about the Buckner situation, this was going to happen in the generation of the NIL and the free range that athletes have amongst it.
Yep.
This was bound to happen, especially, with it being apparently they wanted a competition for quarterback. There was never a competition. Hartman was head and shoulders better. He showed it in the blue and gold game.
So
what did you
wait, all right. Let
fact?
me ask you this then. So do you think that indicates to us that maybe early on in spring practice for Notre Dame, that Hartman was getting in there, learning a new system, trying to catch up on that playbook and whatever familiarity, get to know the guys he's working with and all that on the roster. And so I do think maybe there were times where Buckner did appear ahead because of some of those dynamics early on. And then that's how you got those conflicting reports of people, the media that were there going, oh, Buckner looked really sharp. There might be real juice here. And then in the blue and gold, it just didn't show at all. But I would hope.
I hope there would be improvement coming into your third year being on the roster. I mean, I hope there would be improvement.
Right.
If there wasn't, then, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He was going to end up, I think he's going to end up transferring. After the fact, as soon as Hartman came here, he was already scoping it out once Tommy left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I think he's going to start at Alabama? God, no.
Me neither.
God, no.
Me neither. I'm sorry, man. I just have a hard time wrapping my mind around all that happening. Is just that would be a big shift. I don't see that either. I just don't.
There's too many athletes there. They're no.
Yeah.
But as far as Hartman is concerned, I think he's going to lead Notre Dame to great things. He's going to be a good transition quarterback, leading into getting C.J. Carr, and hopefully Minchie will, get some reps this season so that, we can see what we have in him. But I would also like to see Angeli on the field to see what we have in him.
Yeah, man. Do you feel the way I feel, though, that I don't really feel like anyone is necessarily in the wrong here or to blame? And the decisions being made from all angles, I don't have a problem with. I just think there's some uncomfortableness that comes with this transition period Notre Dame's still in from one regime to the next and all the things that overlap there. Something's got to give. And you brought up a really good point. This is not the old days where if you're a backup, you just kind of have to bide your time. A lot of teams aren't going to have two really high-level quarterbacks because whoever loses these starting jobs is going to go play somewhere else. They're not just going to sit around.
Yeah, they're not going to sit around. And, being, like I said, the NIL is going to hurt more teams than help them. And trying to keep a guy and get him, in the program and get him situated and get him some experience. But that's just not what, that's not going to happen because players want to play right now. Yeah. They want to make their money and they want to play right now.
Yeah. And Buckner's right now was 3 or 4 years ago. He's working on a 3-year right now, but every time he's set up for something, catastrophe happens, either an injury or they bring in a transfer that's going to start. It's just been bad luck, bad timing, and then bad timing and bad luck. That's it. I feel for the kid. He's a great guy. I feel for him. I feel bad for this.
But I feel bad for the kid too. But Hartman is our best option to go. I say realistically, 10-2.
10-2. You know, I can't wait for the Ohio State game, but I definitely cannot wait for the USC game.
Yeah.
As a Notre Dame fan, I've been following Notre Dame since Bush. I've been a fan since Bush when I was like 9 years old. And
yep, that was the turning point in my soul, my friend. As a 21-year-old, that stadium, that was it. My soul changed that day, and it's never been the same. And I mean that. Like, I permanently changed. I permanently changed, and I'll never be the same.
Growing up, like, my whole fandom has been pain. Growing up in the South in Louisiana, being the one Notre Dame fan amongst LSU.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you? I saw that Louisiana on the caller log here. Can I ask how that dynamic goes? You being a Notre Dame guy in that territory with Swamp Thing down there now. How does it go? Do you get people giving you looks at the bar? Like, how does it go down there?
When Kelly left in the middle of the night and it broke on that website Tiger Droppings, I never heard the end of it.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, you will not understand. Oh, we poached your coach. What are you going to do? Oh,
nothing. You can have him. Nothing. It's fine. You can have him.
No, that's exactly what I told him.
Like,
you can have him. He's going to do just as much as he wants to. And then, I mean, I guess being in a SEC program where, you know, you don't have to have great grades and, you know, you can have a 2.0 GPA and still be a star athlete. Good. Yeah, you're going to get athletes out the ass just because you're SEC
Kelly
school.
knows that. That's a big appeal for Kelly because he got sick of doing the recruiting it takes at Notre Dame. You could cast a 200-mile net.
Going out to California,
right?
Cast of that USC game and playing golf.
Yeah, cast a net 200 miles away from LSU. You're going to get a lot of guys that are going to go to LSU no matter who the coach is because it's LSU. And then, there are a lot of. Yeah, it's a good fit for Kelly. I actually applaud him because as an exit strategy, this was a great one. He did a great job on that move.
Yeah, he found a nice place where there's good food, I guess, so he can retire.
Yep, and retire in the warmth, not in the South Bend weather. You know, retire somewhere warm. Yeah, I don't know. So how do you think this ends up, man? What does Buckner end up doing, and what does this look like?
Man, well, I mean, with the no contact clause, he says he's open to coming back to Notre Dame. Like, I don't think that's a good look if he comes back. Like, you're going to lose. They're talking about Marcus Freeman losing the locker room. Buckner just lost the locker room when he left the team.
Yeah, I wonder how that goes. And I wonder though if
like,
are we so
lineman for him? I wouldn't want to block for him. Like, you're going to leave me just to go to Alabama to follow an unproven coordinator and Tommy Rees.
Yeah.
And you're going to leave us, you know, guys you've been with for 3 years? Like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, it's a little.
You're not even going to be.
Has that changed, though?
You think you might have a chance to be the starting quarterback at Alabama? Like, does he really think he's that great? Like, I want to know, like, what he's being told.
Yeah.
Like, to want to come to Bama. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Because there are other teams in the SEC that are in dire need of a quarterback, and he will have a way better chance of starting at than Bama.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You have Auburn, you have Florida.
Yeah, I thought of Auburn too.
You have Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, if he leaves,
but John,
if he leaves, I want him to go start. I don't want him to leave and not start. If he does leave, I want him to go and play right away. Otherwise, it feels even more frustrating that he would leave and not even start somewhere. Do that here then. Right?
I think he should go back home and try to play in the state of California, be the hometown kid, go back to San Diego State, you know, go to Cal Berkeley. Like,
God, what if he just goes to Stanford? What if he's such a Stanford-y guy, smart, kind of just the old California thing. He could go run a new Stanford offense. I don't know.
I mean, Stanford, they're going to be in their rebuilding year.
Yeah.
I mean, but we thought that last year, and we see what the hell happened.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is going to be really interesting, but I truly don't. For somebody who has strong opinions on everything, I'm not blaming anybody here. I totally understand everybody's position, and I think they're reasonable. From Notre Dame's angle, Freeman's angle, Buckner's angle, I think they're all legitimate. I do.
No, they're all legitimate reasons, but, like, right now, Notre Dame is trying to win right now. who's going to put us in the best position to win and put us in a playoff position and transition into the new playoff system for next year.
Yeah.
It's Hartman.
Yep.
That's all, plain and simple.
Yep.
No one needs to be butthurt on this situation.
Yep.
It's called competition for a reason. He was the better guy, period.
Yeah. And you know what else he's going to do? You know what else he's going to do too is having a quarterback, just even off what I saw in blue and gold, having a guy like that is going to bring along that young wide receiver group way faster by getting them the ball when they're open, actually hitting them, like leading them in stride. There's a lot he's going to do that's going to improve those wide receivers so that whatever happens the next year when he's gone, those guys should be off to the races between Chancey Stuckey's development and that.
I'm so excited to see where our offense is going to grow in the next 2 to 3 years.
Me too.
Hopefully Chancey Stuckey sticks around. Got a feeling he won't, just like, when we get any decent coach, he's off within 2 years, i.e. our last couple defensive coordinators. But our offense is about to take leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I think so too. And that is key leading into this new playoff era and everything else. Like, get that going. And then whatever young quarterback we're attaching the wagon to after this, like the structure's there. And then that's where Notre Dame, if it works right, kind of really takes off. So I don't know, man, but
that's why I'm not worried about as much on the defensive end this year, because if our offense can put up 30 to 35 points a game, we can win the ball games, dude. We can win them. As long as we can have our offense keep us in the game, because usually we're depending on our defense to keep us in the game. But I think this year the tables might turn a little bit, and seeing our offense take such a leap.
Yeah, no, it should take a big leap.
They might be carrying the team,
dude. Imagine a scenario where a defense has to worry about Notre Dame running the ball and throwing it on them. How long has it been since we have had a legitimate offense where they have to worry about both and can't just stack the box, and then if we throw it, it's going to Mayer and they hope they tackle them? Like, this could...
probably, if you want to talk for real instance, probably since Deshaun Kaiser or possibly even Brady Quinn.
Yeah, exactly.
When you had Maurice Stovall and that monster and Jeff Samardzija out there. Just killing everyone.
Yeah, and then even Kaiser had an arm where he could get a lot of air under that ball and make you worry he could throw it right over you. Like, he had a big arm for a while.
That's why I'm so excited to have a quarterback who can actually see over the offensive line instead of having, 5 guys.
Might be helpful. It might help you. I don't know. What do I know? I think that'd be good. I don't know, though. What do I know?
I've seen some of the offensive linemen. So these kids are 6'5" to 6'10". Like, they are monster human beings.
Yeah.
You saw the trouble Drew Pine had in trying to find receivers last year. He couldn't literally see over the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just excited to have a quarterback that is going to understand the X's and O's, is going to be athletic enough to make the throws, and, is not going to be throwing no short slant routes like Ian Book used to do, or out routes like Ian Book used to do, and that's all our offense was, little dink and dunks, and then hopefully our run game takes over.
Yeah, nope. Yeah, I think we could balance this offense out, and I think I agree with you. I think the offense could actually become the strength of the team this year, which seems odd given that we've been relying on the defense to do everything the last 15 years.
Well, obviously you can tell offense is literally the thing that gets people in the national championships, as you can see in the playoffs, where last year each team scored over 40 points.
Yeah.
In the semifinals.
Yep, you got to score
to win the ball game.
Yep, you got to score.
Solid ass defense like Georgia has.
Yep,
it takes an offense.
Yep, you need to score. There's a lot of points being scored in those playoff games, even with teams that have physical, good defenses. So that is a prerequisite now to win those playoff games. You're gonna have to score some points. Thank you for the call, my friend. I really appreciate it. Anything you want to close? Anything? No problem. Anything you want? Anything you want to close on? Your final thought, or anything that stands out to you?
Man, I really just want to thank you for being an awesome, podcast in general. The Always Irish. I've been listening to this podcast since the 2017 or 18 season.
That's that, man. You've been there pretty early. I appreciate it.
You encapsulate everything I feel living in the South, just my pent up anger like about our ball team.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's good to know that there's another Irish fan that's not a stickler out there and like just happy with the results we're getting and winning 10 games a year. Like, I really appreciate that for the curiosity that you will come with in the show. Like,
hey man,
dude,
thank you.
You're doing a good job.
That means a lot to me. And listen, I'm thinking of you down there. Don't let all Kelly and all of his friends bully you around down there. You hang tough, damn it. Hang tough down there.
Dude,
Don't let them mess with you. Don't let them mess with you.
Well, man, thank you for taking my call. I'm gonna try to call you again soon because, like, being the only Notre Dame fan really here in the South, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard
man. Hey, call me. We'll bring you in, man. And so we got your back. But just know, I mean, I always give extra credit to people in these geographical areas where we are not liked, not hated. There's not a lot of us. Hang proud down there, man. Okay.
All right, brother.
Have a good one. Thanks for calling. I'm glad you did. Save the number. Fire it up again.
Most definitely.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Another nice guy. Man, you guys are nice. You guys are nice. 480. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on, John?
A lot.
Great, man.
Man, a lot's going on. A lot's going on. Am I losing my mind? Am I making sense? What do you think?
Well, you know, I haven't called in a while, man. I've been so busy with everything. But when I got the news about this, man, I was like, I got to call in because I tuned into the Goldstein reaction. And, man, you know, first of all, it was very emotional. It was a very emotional, stimulated response to, you know, Buckner deciding to leave. And my thing is, look, man, we all saw the blue gold game. We saw that Hartman was head and heels way better than Buckner. I mean, no matter what the reports were giving us about how he was killing it in practice with the one, this, and another, okay, when it came down to it, Hartman came to play. He showed up and played.
Yep.
So the bottom line is, it's like, you know, people want to cry about the fact that he's been there and he hasn't got a chance. Look, man, if we want to start the blame, let's blame the fact that Kelly brought in a guy named Jack Holmes when he could have put Buckner in and got him the reps he needed when he was here.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't maybe have this issue if we had the experience.
That was a big, you know what, man? Hey, I'm glad you're bringing that up because that was a big pivot point, a decision made to lean into a young guy and get that development going. But I think Kelly thought he had a really good ball club then. And if he had a quarterback that he knew he could rely on at a certain level, maybe that would be enough. As it turned out, we had a weak schedule. You had one tough game at home and you lost to Cincinnati, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, and then more importantly, when has the last time we've seen any type of development at quarterback?
Yeah. Well, we've seen development. We've seen development, reverse development. They get worse the longer they're here.
My point exactly. So now we're in a situation where we have a guy in the name of Sam Hartman. We have the Geno G guy that's there that's actually developing not just Hartman, who's a veteran guy, but he's also helping to develop the young guys like Minchie, who is going to be the future of the program. So therefore, I feel we're in a better position because next year, if Buckner doesn't come back, it's all Minchie and Carr at this point. And I would rather go in next year knowing that, okay, we got a young true sophomore who is a recruit of Notre Dame, who's gotten development through having a veteran like Sam Hartman to look under, you know, and follow behind, and then also have the actual coach that's there developing him into becoming the prime quarterback that we all keep crying about we want to see at Notre Dame. But to sit up here and get mad because a guy decides he wants to leave, you know, and talking about a shit show and this and another, dude, it was a shit show for 12 damn years when Kelly was there. It was a shit show for 12 damn years with Kelly. And here it is now. We got the compliment. And remember I told you on your show the last time I talked to you. Remember I told you when we were talking about these recruits, I said, John, these recruits, these young dogs that are coming in, they're not coming to sit on nobody's bench. Remember I told you that. The last time we had a conversation about all these recruits and stuff, I said, these guys are not coming to sit on nobody's bench. they're coming to compete. They're coming to take somebody's spot.
Yep.
All this kumbaya, y'all, no, man, they come to
Yep.
play.
And you know where I'm seeing that? You know where I'm seeing that a lot? The wide receiver room, I'm seeing that a lot. And you're about to see a lot from that from the linebackers, too. Some of them guys are hungry to see the damn field and hit people.
Yeah,
Telling you they are.
Yeah, this is a new day, man. It's a new day. And while people want to complain about the fact that people leaving and want to be all this Notre Dame, Rudy type stuff, look, we want to win a championship. In order to win a championship, you got to make stuff uncomfortable. How do you make things uncomfortable?
Yep.
You got to raise the level of competition.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what's happening.
Yep.
Right
And then to see. You're really good point, because what you're saying weaves into one of the things I said a while ago on this show. Some of this you're going to get when you have two regimes that are overlapping with the talent and you have slightly different visions. This is what you get in that dynamic if you're doing it right. And the new guy has a little different way he wants to do things. Some of this is natural. It's just uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable, man.
So what does Buckner do now? Where do you think he goes? What do you think happens? How does this resolve?
Well, first of all, him going down to Alabama is, I'm like, man, okay, so now you're going to go to a guy who recruited you that didn't develop you into the quarterback that you want to be because you were a particular type of quarterback when you came to Notre Dame. They changed up your throwing mechanics and everything, and you're going back to the same guy who basically revitalized how your quarterback play went in college.
Yeah.
You're going back to that same person and expecting him to basically put you in a position to succeed better than where you were for the last 3 years. Like, and my thing is, dude, you're not going to make it at Alabama. Saban's not taking that type of heat.
That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. But then
he's not going to take him.
That's what I thought. But then would he agree to go there as a backup just to be with Tommy? And then you're still not getting what I think he wants, which is a chance to actually start. You're still not getting it.
Well, see, my thing is, John, if he does that, then you're. I mean, it's almost like you're even shooting yourself worse in the foot, because why would you go to be a backup for a program when you have to get acclimated to not just, even though you know the Tommy Rees offense, so to speak. Okay, you got to get acclimated with the players. You're not going to have spring ball with them, so you have to fight to basically get in the rotation during the summer and fall. And no matter what the quarterback situation is at Alabama, okay, Saban's not going to take that bet of bringing in this guy who hasn't had any type of off season with him in the winter and spring, and anticipate that he's just going to come in and save the day. It's just not going to happen. In that case, you might as well stay here at South Bend and work to hire Hartman, in case at least he would know if something happens to Hartman, he's got a sure way to the field. And he was going to have packages anyway designed for him this year regardless of it all. So I just think that, man, the whole thing about it is crazy, but the overreaction of the people talking about the sky's falling, shit's falling apart, it's a shit show in South Bend, Freeman don't know what he's doing. It's just a bunch of emotionally stimulated responses, man, and it's ridiculous seeing some of these people talk about this stuff. And it's like, we sat here for 12 freaking damn years and watched every quarterback that we had regress. Every quarterback regress. Okay.
Yep.
And here it is now.
Yep. And that's not an over. That's not like the other thing is that's accurate. Like Book, the numbers went down the longer he played. Kaiser, the numbers went down the more he played. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Their statistical numbers went down the longer these guys were with Kelly and Reese, the worse they were at football. I don't know who doesn't understand that still.
And here's the thing, John. For the first time since, 2016, we have one of the – I can't recall – I guess maybe the 2015, 2016 offense was almost similar to this. But I would argue that this, based upon the talent gap of what we have now versus what was there at that time, I would almost argue that this team has a little bit more in terms of offensive power, that the 2016 team didn't have. And the fact of the matter is, I feel like we have a better advantage because of the defense. There's the only thing I have concern with defensively is the safety. That's just one of my big concerns about this year. But the cornerback, I mean, when you have a good cornerback room, the DB room, and then you got a good offensive room, and they're battling each other the way that from what's been told and reported, and then you got a quarterback like Hartman who can just put it right in the. I mean, just watching him, man, just like pick the defense apart, man, and just get down the field. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait till August, man. Like, I can't wait till football starts. And I'm like, that's what we've been. And then it's like people talking about, oh, well, he didn't have this, he didn't have that in terms of the offensive line. I'm okay, but my whole thing was, okay, if he's been killing it in the practices prior to the Bullgo game, then why would you leave? Because if you've been killing it, knowing that you had the starting 5 quarter of offensive line behind you, and I'm representing to Todd Buckner, if he was killing it in practice, then it's like, why leave? Because you know what you were doing in practice prior to the Bullgo game, and you knew that the draft was going to be in balance, but you know your talent, and you know what you've done to improve in the off season. So that's the whole thing. I mean, I get the fact that he wants to play. The guy he had butterfingers, man. He had bricks for hands. He wasn't catching anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, that was the last resort was putting you on the other side of the ball, and you feel like that you deserve to be as a wide receiver and going to go somewhere, okay, fine. But the whole point of it all is that the talent is raising, the competition is increasing at Notre Dame, and whether people like it or not, that's what's happening right now. And it's uncomfortable for us because we're so used to just getting by with these little 10-win seasons and hoping that we can squeeze our stuff in the playoffs and just keep the game close. We play against these Georgias and Alabamas and another. And what Freeman's trying to do is Freeman's trying to close in the gap in terms of talent because he understands that in order to win some of these bigger games and the elite games, we have to have the elite talent.
Yeah.
Okay. How many times do we watch TV? John, you said it all last year. You said you get so frustrated, turn on the TV and watching some, Boise State or something like that, just throwing the ball around.
Yep.
Here we are, we can barely get the ball down the field.
Yep.
Because we don't have a quarterback. Now we've got that, and everybody's complaining and crying and bitching and complaining. It's like, man, damn you do, damn you don't. But irregardless of it all, I'm excited for this season. I think that we're in the right position, and I can't wait to see what Hartman does with his offense because with the talent that we have, and here's another thing about Hartman. See, Hartman has to be more of a hero at Wake Forest because even though he had a couple of good receivers, he didn't have a good defense to help accompany him and accommodate the talent that he had. And he's got way more weapons he's ever had at Wake Forest. Ever. Not just with the receivers, but with the running back.
Yeah, that's
true. He
true.
doesn't have to be the hero and everything. He can now balance out his game because he's got some good dogs in the running back room, and he's got some great receivers and a good offensive line. I mean, it's like the dude has more in the cupboard he's ever had in his whole existence at Wake Forest.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, man. It's going to be. I don't know. I'm just thinking I just need Hartman to stay healthy. That's my number one thing now on my mind. Just whatever else is going to happen with Buckner, I just need Hartman to stay healthy. Come on.
If you were to ask me, John, because either way it goes, we're going to be in the same situation. Either way it goes. Okay. Yeah. If we didn't have Hartman, we'd be going in the same situation with Buckner, Mitchie, and Angeli. Okay. And so, who would you rather take a bet and risk with? I've taken the bet and risk with Hartman, Angeli, and Mitchie because my thing is the differential is we actually have a quarterbacks coach who is actually developing the quarterback.
Yeah.
Tommy Reese was not developing any damn quarterbacks. He was too busy trying to be offensive coordinator and not really teaching and developing these guys. We actually have somebody that's solely working with quarterbacks and developing quarterbacks. So I have a better optimism that going into the season, if something were to say to happen, hey, look, man, that's even more of a preparation to help Minchie and Angeli, but more or less Minchie, get the reps that he needs to prepare for the future, regardless of it all.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is we have way more of a development situation at hand than we had in the last previous 12, 11 years under the previous regime.
Yeah, that's fair point.
Freeman recognized that.
Yeah,
he recognized that when he came in. We don't have any development in the quarterback room.
I think that I like the way you frame that Freeman ain't thinking, how do we get to 10-2 or whatever? He's trying to go the harder route to end up ultimately in a higher place. And that makes a lot of sense to me, the way he's doing this stuff. I really appreciate the call, my friend. I'm glad you caught back up with me. Make sure you call me back when this resolves itself, and we'll talk about what happens.
Hey, sounds good, man. Good to hear from you, man.
Beautiful. Thanks for calling, my friend. Have a good week. Take care. Oh, man. You guys got a lot of thoughts. 574 Indiana. What's going on?
How's it going, John?
Oh, it's going interestingly. A lot of people have a lot of different thoughts. What do you think about this dynamic?
Well, what I think about it is, first off, Buckner going to the transfer portal was not a big deal at all. I mean, we had 4 quarterbacks, and someone was not going to make the 53-man roster. So someone's going to have to transfer, and Tyler Buckner, unfortunately, is the one who had to go because also, didn't you guys see the spring game where he threw an interception? It was basically a carbon copy of the one against the Marshall game.
Yeah. Hello? Do I still got you?
Yeah, you still got me.
Oh, sorry. You cut out. I had a little power surge here in the basement. Everything flashed for a second. My internet, the lights, I don't know what happened. I'm in the twilight zone. What the hell's going on?
Well, we can hear you loud and clear. Can you guys hear us in the chat?
There we go. I got you back. What did I miss? Did you ask me something I missed?
No, I didn't ask you something. I was just saying that, I mean, Tyler Buckner threw basically the same interception as he did in the Marshall game. So, I mean, he just wasn't good enough to play at Notre Dame, so he enters the transfer portal. And that's unfortunately the world we live in now, where anyone can basically get an offer from any other school in the transfer portal. And he wasn't going to start at Notre Dame, so he thought, hey, why not? I might go to another school and try to make a new start at a new school. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
People leave for different reasons.
But like, all right, we're saying it all sounds fine now because I got the starting quarterback I wanted that I thought deserved the job in Hartman. But if something happens to him and we don't have Buckner to lean on, then that's where people are going to go, this is why we needed him around. Like, you just have to hope that doesn't happen if he does leave.
Well, we also have Angeli, who I think should have started last year, but I don't know. He got passed over for Pine. I guess you got to go with the senior in this case because I guess the players liked him and Angeli liked him. So I guess you had to go with Pine last year. But now that you have Angeli, just the only quarterback, I think he's your guy at backup now.
You know, sometimes I wonder if we're not fair to Angeli because, you know, Buckner's Buckner. We're all invested in him because he's been around so long. Hartman has the big upside and can bring something to the offense we're not used to seeing, like a real life passing game, for instance. And then in Minchie's Minchie, Carr, everybody knows, shiny new car. I mean that in every way possible. The shiny new car everybody wants. Is Angeli getting looked over here? Where does he fall in all that?
I think Angeli just got looked over. I mean, you have to keep in mind, he scored the game-winning touchdown in the blue and gold game. Everyone was talking so highly about him last year. And then we thought when Buckner was struggling, because he obviously had the leg issue, we knew about it for a while now. But when he got injured, we all thought Angeli was going to be the new starter. And then Coach Freeman said, I'm defending Drew Pine. That's what he ended up saying.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen here? What do you think Buckner is going to end up doing? Will he come back? Will it be rejoining Tommy Boy in Alabama? Or do you think maybe he finds another mid-level Power 5 school that says, we really need a starter. If you come here, we will build an offense around you, utilize what you're best at, and highlight you and showcase you? What do you think is the likely outcome?
I think he's going to end up at a school like a Boston College or a Duke. I think he'll end up at a school where he can start and try to get some minutes and try to end up maybe as a 7th round pick in the NFL draft. I mean, that's the goal of all these players, is to get drafted in the NFL draft and have a chance to make big money and be a starter and lead an NFL franchise.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. That's a good point. Let me ask you this question. With these guys coming and going and all these shifts and everything, are you worried Freeman's losing faith? The roster's losing faith in Freeman, and the culture is fracturing, and or do you just feel like some of this coming and going is natural in the modern era with the new coach and the ability of these guys to not set out and just leave? Are you worried about that culture stability at all, or is this just how it goes?
It's just how it goes right now. I mean, especially people don't realize how big a football team is compared to a basketball team. The bigger alarm is the basketball team right now. Everybody left in the off season, and there's only 12 guys on a basketball team, and there was just the same amount of guys that transferred from the basketball team at the football team, and everyone points fingers at the football team and not realize the basketball team is in a lot worse situation right now.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. The only saving grace for me is it's not quite as emotional for me with basketball that it is football. It just hits me different. Otherwise I'd be really, really upset all the time. And so let me ask this. What do you think happens the following year? Angeli Minchie versus Carr coming in as a 5-star freshman with all that fanfare. How do you think that competition breaks down? It's very interesting there as well.
I have no idea what to expect, but that's going to be a tough one because that spring game is going to be very anticipated. Everyone's going to go to that spring game, but I think what will end up happening is either Carr will decide to redshirt, but if Carr wants the starting job, I think you got to give it to CJ Carr in that situation. But we'll see if Angeli wants to transfer as well. But it's just one of those things you kind of got to wait and see about this season because you got to see if Hartman's going to work out.
Yeah. It's Notre Dame could thread the needle here. Even if Buckner leaves, Notre Dame could thread the needle here. Hartman is good and stays healthy next year. And then the following year, Angeli's more developed and competitive. Minchie has a year under his belt. He's competitive. And Carr comes in as a freshman, and I want to see him throw the ball all over. So, we could thread the needle and be fine here, but there is a disaster path. If Hartman gets hurt, like this and that, it's never boring in Notre Dame land. You know that.
It's never boring. We could have another transfer quarterback come in another year later. But that's just the world we live in with the NIL. We don't know if another hot quarterback's going to decide to transfer for us and play one season and then Carr gets passed over. It's one of those things you don't know. It's just wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah. Yep. This is interesting, though. I don't blame anybody in this dynamic. I think everybody's trying to do what's best and what's right. And these things just come up. It's just everything that happens to Notre Dame, such a big deal. It just gets magnified on social media, regular media, all day yesterday on the SEC network. Feinbaum's talking about Notre Dame's quarterback. It's wild. It's everything we do just gets blown up and magnified. It's wild.
Oh, I know. It's just because people like to rip on Notre Dame. The people at Disney and ESPN don't like Notre Dame. We all know that.
Yeah. I've been on that a long time. Yeah.
They're trying to convince the one player sitting in the back of the room to transfer to Mississippi State.
Yeah. I don't know. This stuff is, we're going to get answers, and then we're going to go through the summer and see where we end up in camp. it's going to be really interesting. No matter what Tyler Buchner decides to do, it's going to be breaking news, and it's going to have a ripple down effect for everybody else involved and every other place involved. But I go back to thinking, I think Freeman has a vision here. He's trying to do the best he can to win now and protect the future. Some of these things are going to come up. They're going to be awkward, and you navigate them as fairly as you can. And I think that's what's going on. That's my final answer.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but I just don't see Tyler Buckner working out at Alabama because he would have a hard time because the bigger issue is even though Nick Saban, the only reason that Alabama was an issue was because Nick Saban ripped on his two quarterbacks. But guess what? I mean, it's hard to replace Bryce Young, who's probably going to go in the top 5 in the NFL draft tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and that is another thing. With all this Notre Dame stuff, I almost forgot that draft was tomorrow. Good luck to all Notre Dame's guys and everybody else fulfilling that dream. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. Any final thoughts, my friend?
I don't know what to expect, but I can't wait to call you again soon. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. And as soon as news breaks, we'll be here. So make sure you give me a call. And then I might be back sometime in the summer to get on campus. And then we'll maybe do a tailgate for Central Michigan, or I'll just go to that game. We might do something for that. So stay tuned.
You got to think about the Ohio State game, but we got to beat Central for sure. We can't have a Marshall situation again.
Nah, yeah, we definitely can't do that. The only issue is, as much as I want to be there for Ohio State, I don't want to miss out on all the analytics of not doing this show for Ohio State weekend. I can afford to miss some phone calls on Central Michigan. It isn't going to be nearly as intense as Ohio State week. So I kind of don't want to not be here for that. So we'll work it all out though, but you're local. We'll meet up sometime.
Yeah, we should meet up sometime.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for the call, and then call me when this resolves and we'll talk about where we landed.
Sounds good, John. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. It's always good to have some local Notre Dame folks. Newt Rockney, I'm going to finish on this. This discussion's about the transfers and, like, I'm assuming how many people USC's pulling out of the portal or whatever. How can Notre Dame compete with these transfers? Newt Rockney, guess what? I recorded an episode yesterday about this exact dynamic, bringing up some things that should make Notre Dame fans concerned. It's interesting you bring this up because I literally recorded on this exact topic yesterday and break down some of the things you're worried about. So on that one, I give you credit because you're right on with it. Everybody, thanks for being here. This was a long show today. I'm going to do a couple interviews. I'm going to go on Mark Rogers in like an hour. I'm going to do something with him and then one other show and then record a couple other things. It's just news. It's Notre Dame news. You hit it while you could get it. You know what I mean? All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the phone calls. Thank you for the donations. Most of all, just thank you for being here. Have a good one. And as soon as news breaks, whatever it is, we'll be here. Have a good one.